Welcome everybody to another edition of the C3 Friday Free For All, the show for the fans, by the fans, where you get to be a part of the C3 Panthers Podcast. The link to join the show has been pinned in the YouTube comments or the YouTube chat. It's in the link of the description on the Facebook and the YouTube page. And we're going to have a great conversation today. Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback in the NFL. What? At least that's what all the big bottoms are saying. We're here to get to the bottom of it and figure out what's going on. Did the Panthers make a mistake in letting Baker Mayfield go? Is Baker Mayfield going to revamp his career with Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams? You already know we're going to have a lit conversation. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe. You already see my vaunted guest, illustrious guest. We're going to go from top to bottom. My man, Panther Pickle. How are you, brother?
I'll take that offensive coordinator job from Ben McAdoo because I can't do worse than Ben McAdoo.
Hey, maybe
even if I did everything with a Madden controller, I couldn't do worse than Ben McAdoo.
Yeah, look, that's going to be a good discussion on how much was McAdoo, how much is Baker, how much of it was the Rams playing backyard football. I mean, yeah, you know, it's an in-depth conversation, and there's a lot of angles to it. Next up, my man, this dude is like dominating PrizePicks left and right every single day. I try and make fun of him because he's a South Carolina fan, but he wins at PrizePicks way more than I do, so I can't even talk shit, dude. It's White Chocolate Espresso. What's up, dude?
Not much, just chilling, just drinking me some coffee for a change, you know.
Oh,
South Carolina steps.
Yeah, you know, well, they win, so I would hate them too.
Hey, are you going to be watching me and Pickles Beamer Bowl, as you would like to call it?
Clemson? Yeah, Beamer Bowl. Whoever wins is South Carolina's best victory.
Okay, well, maybe that'll give us some extra incentive. Go Canes, Club, baby.
It's Clemson Tears.
Man, get that shit out of here. Next up, this man probably has one of the best minds that I've ever seen from a Panther fan. Dude, he's right on track all the time. It's my man, Drew. Drew, what's going on, bro?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing this Friday evening? Ready to talk some Panther football. We got the Seahawks coming up. And, fans, we need to bring it back a little bit. I know everybody watched the game last night. Hey, it was the Raiders. They beat the Raiders. Who has not beaten the Raiders? Take a step back, get off the cliff, and we'll discuss it.
I mean, look, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Let's jump right into it, man. Baker Mayfield, literally after being, and look, say what you want. You know, I'm not a big Baker fan. Everybody knows that. But, I mean, I do think that it is impressive that you go there for 2 days and you're able to go there and get the W. Now, my mind has not changed as to what kind of a quarterback Baker Mayfield is, but now you've got a lot of people that are really saying, whoa, man, maybe this was Ben McAdoo not putting Baker in a position to be successful. So, you know, just to kind of recap, a 98-yard drive, down 6 with no touchdowns. He learned the offense in 36 hours. Crosby and Jones are in pounce mode off the edge from the Raiders. This is a tweet from Kirk Herbstreit, by the way, who was fawning all over Baker Mayfield last night. Wide receivers who just met, have no chemistry or experience with. Plays coming in from one of the best play callers in the NFL. No problem. Go with it. Baker Mayfield.
They also had the third and fourth string receivers.
Yeah, I mean, so look, that's what I want to talk about. Like, what is the cause of all this? Did we underestimate Baker? Did we make a mistake in letting him go? What's what do you all make of this? And hey, it's the free for all. I'm gonna let y'all just jump right into it.
Baker is who I think we thought he was. He sucked. I think they got lucky. I think Baker came in. If you talk to people who know Baker well, as far as that's watched him play very well, you'll know that in backyard football, Baker's really good. Okay. But in a structured offense, Baker's not good. And that's what this was just a backyard, throw the guy out there, see what the hell he can do. That's just what it is. Now I'm not saying Baker did do some impressive plays. Yes, he did. Okay. But I'm very well happy he's out of here. I'm happy Matt Rule's out of here. I'll be really happier when Ben McAdoo leaves, because Ben McAdoo is probably the worst offensive coordinator we've had here since Jeff Davidson. And if you don't know who that is, look it up.
Okay. Hey, real quick, let me welcome my man Kamon to the show. Come on, how you doing, man?
All right. Doing good?
Right. Yeah, man. Happy you could be a part of the show. And my man JD864 from the beautiful island of Hawaii. JD, what's up, bro?
Yo, what's good, man? How y'all doing?
Chilling, man. Chilling. Talking about Baker, talking about Ben McAdoo. Let me just pass it around. Do you think that Ben McAdoo and his offensive playbook were part of the reason why Baker Mayfield was not successful here in Carolina?
I think a part of it. I mean, there's no doubt. You see the way Baker, I mean, the way they made plays for him, the rollout and everything, they weren't doing that in Carolina. But I also think he still was not good. But I think he could have been a lot better.
Yeah, I disagree, because I see with Sam. I saw with Sam and PJ a lot of the same plays that McAdoo was calling, and Baker was like, you can go back to week 1. Dude had four fumbled snaps, and then he had 4 or 5 batted passes. And then go to week 2, and Baker was having success. Like, there are 2 drives that come to my mind where we're moving the ball, and Shy dropped the ball, and that would have put us like first, and then we'd have had a first down in the red zone if Shy doesn't score. And then on the very next drive, Ian does the same thing. It was just like a combination of guys just not executing. Like, even when you go to week 4, we have a drive going. They call an end around that the ball was supposed to end up in DJ's hand. If Higgins doesn't fumble the snap, the handoff, DJ gets that ball and he's going up the field. It's like, I think he would have had one man to beat. It might have been like a 3-on-2 with the Panthers. Like, we had 2 blockers out in front with DJ coming around. So that would have ended up being a score. If it doesn't if it doesn't go for a huge gain, it's a huge score. And it's just guys were not executing at all. Like, Baker will be off, or then when he hit guys and the ball, he throw it and they hit a receiver in the hand, they drop it, or you'd have a fumble on the opening fucking kickoff.
Yeah.
So I personally have not. I've heard a lot of people. I've seen a lot of things being said online about McAdoo is a terrible play caller. I have not seen his play calling as the issue. I've seen the lack of execution and poor quarterback play.
Same. And JD, that's part of the reason. Like, I went on a Twitter spree. I haven't even been tweeting that much lately. I've kind of like giving Twitter a break and like kind of getting away from it. But last night, everybody was just jumping on Baker Mayfield. Like, oh man, dude, Baker Mayfield's great. Ben McAdoo sucks. He's out the door. And look, maybe Ben McAdoo is out the door. I mean, even if we retain Steve Wilkes, there's no guarantee that that Steve retains Ben McAdoo. But to me, it's such an excuse when you see how many times Baker Mayfield would overthrow his receivers here. The ball is batted at the line of scrimmage. Like, I don't know. It's kind of too simple of an answer to me to say that, oh, well, Baker needed more 7-step drops. Yeah, well, there's a lot of quarterbacks that don't need a 7-step drop in order to have their ball not batted at the line of scrimmage. So I don't necessarily understand what the disconnect is. But okay, if you
need to change that.
If you need a certain kind of play in order to be successful, are you really even that good of a quarterback? Like,
no, but the coach should do that though. But the coach should do it.
Also, I want to preface anything I say in defense of McAdoo. I do want to preface this with I'm such a huge fan of Corral and McAdoo's accession. Is that the right word? Anyway, I'm such a huge fan of Corral. I'm defending McAdoo in part because I want to see how Corral will look under.
Same. Ben McAdoo has a great eye for quarterbacks. One, he never won Baker Mayfield, even when he was with the Giants in 2018. He had Josh Allen number 1 at the top of his board. I mean, and who knows what he thinks about this year's class. And yeah, he really likes Matt Corral.
I gotta chime in here, y'all. I understand that McAdoo loved Corral. I do. But let's hope that when whoever the next head coach is, he don't say, golly geez, let's keep Ben McAdoo because he liked Matt Corral. Let's just hope it's not that far. Because what I have seen of Ben McAdoo, that's a good close-up of you, Cody.
I know, right? I wasn't even trying to.
But what I've seen is Ben McAdoo is so erotic. That's not the correct word.
You're right.
I mean, maybe it is. Swing it.
Yeah, let me finish what I'm saying. Ben McAdoo is so crazy with his play calling, and it's almost like he has 3 different books for 3 different quarterbacks, and a backup book that screws everybody. So I mean, it and if he goes in, and if it's all about his game plans, well, let's be honest. So far, his game plans suck. Kind of as bad as his head
Cody.
coach.
I mean, you said that he should have drawn that more 7 drop backs or whatever because that's what he's good at.
7 drop.
Yeah, if McAdoo doesn't do that, what does that say about him? He's not putting his quarterback in best position.
So, if I can say something,
go ahead.
I'm a 49ers fan. I don't know if you guys remember me from like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
but it was something that we were looking at, right? As far as because you guys know our situation, we're down to our 3rd string kind of like quarterback. So Baker Mayfield, right? He does, and the thought of Baker Mayfield became like a really strong kind of real possibility, right?
Yeah.
But I just kind of I want to go over kind of what I saw, right? And looking at Baker Mayfield because we try to take everything into a vacuum, and it's very important to remember that this was just one game, and not to knock the Raiders, but I don't know how far you'd put them on the litmus test, right? Like when you're going up, you see the Raiders right now on your schedule. If you're some of the remaining like few weeks, right? When you look at the Raiders, you go like, okay, we need to really bring our A game because this will be a predictor of how well we're going to perform in the playoffs, right? So it's number 1. Number 2. As far as the 7-back drops, we have to keep everything within context, right? There's perception that he was just running back and throwing the ball. Well, why is that? Well, if you guys look at the stats as far as how often he was pressured on his dropbacks in Carolina versus how little the defensive coordinator pressured Baker Mayfield, right? It's ridiculous. It was one of the lowest pressures that he had. Whereas for me, if I knew as a defensive coordinator, I was going up against a quarterback who only had 1 day in the system.
Yeah,
I would have been throwing the kitchen sink at the guy. Like you're not going to have a chance to breathe, right? And instead, they allowed him to do that because statistically, one of his best throws is going to be deep, right? You're not going to have good timing as far as knowing all those guys to be able to lance those passes across the middle. Also, too, those shots they took deep. That was 37% of the total deep passes that he got to take. And I'll admit it's one of his stronger suits, but a lack of pressure. He's getting a chance to then just dial it down deep. And let's not act like they were just world beaters and they just blew apart like the Oakland Raiders, right? Like what was the end score? So I
17-16.
okay, and he threw one touchdown. Again, not to knock him. I do think it's incredible what he was able to do, but it was kind of with the lack of foresight from the Oakland Raiders kind of, defensive coordinator. That's kind of what you get. And also too, if you look at his other numbers as far as across the board, right? His deep passes, his middle passes, intermediate, I should say, and then short passes, all those numbers statistically pretty much pan out the exact same. The only thing was where instead his almost 20% of his passes were deep passes. So it was kind of like, if he nailed it, he was going to look like a god, which he nailed 4 out of 6, right? Like, we have to remember that's going to regress to he keeps doing that. They're going to start talented safeties, defensive coordinators. They're going to start picking them off. So for me, lack of pressure, and then he's just able to go yard, I think was just, you take enough shots, eventually something, you throw enough metaphorical crap at the wall, eventually something's
Yeah, so real quick question though. What, as a 49er fan, were you kind of hoping that Baker Mayfield did fall your way? Or are you more like, Brock Purdy looks like a dude. He seemed to run the offense well, get the ball to the playmakers. Like, did you want Baker to fall to the Niners?
So I really go off of like 3 things, right? Like reason, ethics, and then faith. Right. And so I go with a very logical kind of step to it. Most Niner fans, right, like 90%, did not want Baker Mayfield. They just saw him as a cancer. People didn't like him and that sort of thing. Nick Bosa doesn't have a very good history with Baker Mayfield.
Oh, yeah. But I forgot about the whole planting the flag.
Right.
thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So my big thing that I was looking at was like, I was going like, look, guys, I kind of agree, but I don't think that we're at. No, I didn't want Baker Mayfield to start over Brock Purdy. But I was kind of like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
What are we going to do if Brock Purdy goes down? Like, you're Phillip Rivers out of retirement, RG3 out of, ESPN, Cam Newton, right? So I'm not taking Ryan Fitzpatrick. So for me, the way I was looking, but yeah, there's a lot of things, but I was like, look, at this point, there's not a sexy answer. So I was one of those looking at it from the logical perspective of like, this, you may not like it, but nothing else is going to come through the door, come waltzing in through the door. So that's the best thing. But I was more of like, we can't be picky right now.
What about sorry, Cody, and hey everybody, happy Friday.
No,
everybody.
you're good. Hey, welcome Alex, 814 Panthers holding on the West Coast. What's up, Alex?
Hey, what up? I was gonna chime in on that just because like I agree. I think Purdy, like, he's been there all year. He played fantastic. It stepped in when Garoppolo got hurt, played great. And I still think he does deserve to get a start and see how he does. He definitely does. He's been there all year, so he deserves it. But don't you think maybe bringing in a veteran quarterback for the last month of the season just to see if they can gain some knowledge on the playbook and then see what can, like you said, if Purdy goes down, at least that guy's gained some knowledge in a whole month to kind of work with that. Because at the end of the day, I don't see them winning a Super Bowl with this guy. A rookie quarterback's never won a Super Bowl. I mean, it could happen, but I don't know. And
yes,
this is the year for them to win.
Right.
Yes, he did.
So
yes, he has. Excuse me. Ben Roethlisberger won the Super Bowl his rookie year.
No, it was his second year.
Second.
But it wasn't his rookie year. It was his second, though.
It was his rookie. I think it was his rookie year.
I'll
look it up to make sure. I may be wrong. So
again,
I want to say that it was the second year. I could be wrong, but I'm like 90% certain that it was the second year that they did it. He showed promise in the first year, and then I think the second year they kind of took it all away. But is there anyone that adheres to the opinion that Baker Mayfield could have been better for the Panthers if it was not for Ben McAdoo? And should we not have gotten rid of Baker Mayfield if we had a better offensive coordinator. And that's to whoever wants to jump in on this.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna jump in there and I'm gonna say no. Okay. I mean, technically, maybe statistically, yes. I think Shanahan could hold him, like walk him through those things, right? I think of it like this: if I would have sent Jimmy Garoppolo over there to the Panthers, maybe you guys would have won one more game just because he's a little bit more of an adult. But I think it was kind of a tough situation. You know, you can only do scheme will only take care of so many ailments, but also too, it's about the player and the player's maturity. Sometimes I think the attitude that he went into the Rams with, right? If he would have had that when he went to the Panthers, because it said I think he kind of had this like ego, like this kind of like I'm going to show the Browns they messed up, blah blah. Now he's over here with the Rams, like oh shit, like. There's no more lifelines. If I don't do this, my agent can't help me. My public perception is down. Like I can't, his mental. That's the thing. We can talk about statistics all day long, but the one thing that we can't measure is the heart of the person, right? The soul, what is really going on with them. That's the thing that we can't take out of measuring tape. And I think that he took like when you guys just basically say like, fuck it, take it and walk. Like, that eventually he's like, wow, I'm going to be pretty close to sitting next to Mark Sanchez televising games.
And so I think, you know,
well, he didn't ever want to be here. No.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And that was another thing. The rumors were it's that Baker Mayfield wanted out. He requested that the Panthers release him, and then they obliged him. And they obliged him, and they decided to do that. And you're right. I mean, dude, if it wasn't for this game that he played last night, Mayfield was he was going the way of obscurity. It was looking like both him and Sam Darnold were going to have similar career trajectories, and that we didn't think that either of them might be on the team next year. But, I mean, when it comes to Baker, there is something to be said about self-belief, because apparently he booked the trip to Los Angeles before the Rams even picked him up on waivers. So the dude
that was Roethlisberger's second year.
It was? Okay. Yeah. So there hasn't, to my knowledge, there hasn't ever been a rookie Super Bowl winner at quarterback.
Yeah, I looked that up too. Just that. Yeah. They lost to the Patriots. They lost in the AFC Championship game to the Patriots 41-27.
Now, they did go like 14-2 or 14-1 with them or something like that.
Yeah, they actually went 14-2.
Who?
Counting the playoffs. They went. Yeah, it was rookie year. They were like 14-1. He had only lost once.
And to that point, though.
To be honest, let's also remember, though, for our own future reference, let's remember he entered the season as the third string quarterback.
Who?
Ben Roethlisberger. He Charlie Batch and Tommy Maddox were actually in front of him on the
I just show that no rookie quarterback has ever won a Super Bowl. None.
Right.
Yeah. That's the other thing too. I wanted to answer the gentleman's question whose portrait is below me. So again, I think like logically, most fans of a fan base think passionately and don't think logically. So yes, I did want, and that was what I was trying to express to these guys was, what do we do for two things? We have to think about three scenarios. One, he's the next coming of Tom Brady, right? The likelihood of that is low, but I'm not here to kill fan base's hopes or dreams. Two, okay, he had a great game, but now there's some tape on him. Now he turns into a pumpkin. The Cinderella ride is over, right? This Linsanity ride that we're on is all of a sudden poof. Number three, we've already lost two quarterbacks. We have to start thinking about if this guy goes down. To your point, we need somebody studying, next man up. We need somebody in there, right? So I was on the we just don't quit thinking of him as the product of Baker Mayfield. Think of him as a vet with some kind of seasoned experience. So to answer your question, I was all in.
And who besides Baker Mayfield, who are other guys that you were looking at that you think?
I looked through like a long list, and the problem with a lot of the list was you're talking about trying to bring in people who haven't played in a while, right? And then the other part of the list too is, you could make up another list where maybe some people have played or played recently or still playing, but how many of them are played in a similar system, right? So I wasn't surprised when McVay picked him up, because they all kind of come under that West Coast kind of philosophy, right? Yeah. So Baker Mayfield would have a little bit easier of a time understanding, because a lot of it is one-step throw, three-step drop back throw. Like, it's all precision timing. My biggest problem with Baker Mayfield is his accuracy in the short to intermediate spaces. And he's actually kind of decent with his accuracy in intermediate spaces, which is where you'd want as a coordinator to direct plays. But when you look at his interception ratio, it's like it must be frustrating as a fan. I haven't had to watch him for a full season, but to know, like, hey, he lasers it in there in the intermediate routes. But it's also too where, like, he's gonna intercept it. So when you guys said if we brought in a different offensive coordinator without changing anything, you can't make him not see the linebacker who's pertaining to rush the line of scrimmage and then goes back into the robber position. And then that's doesn't matter how you drop the play. Like, if he continuously makes the same mistakes, which is what I'm taking from the data, you can't fix that. That's on.
I also think if we had a decent run game, like we didn't have a decent run game against Baltimore, and it showed.
So look, this goes around Twitter a lot. Anytime Baker Mayfield does something good, Browns fans made this originally. The Baker Mayfield cycle is he plays like shit. He's criticized by the media. Then he has that underdog mentality. He beats an inferior opponent, and then calls out the doubters. Like that really does feel to me like the Baker Mayfield experience, man. I mean, they've got Green Bay coming up, and they're kind of resurgent. But I don't know, man. I just, look, to the people that are happy for Baker, hey, I'm happy for you if you're happy for Baker. I'm not saying that I'm not. Dude, I think the NFL is better when the quarterbacks are playing their best. And if he ends up turning it around, it's a great story. But I'm not one of these people that's going to overreact to one game against a really bad Raiders football team, and then all of a sudden think that Baker Mayfield is like going to compete with Matthew Stafford next year for the Rams job. Like that isn't going to happen. Maybe he can play himself into a job for another team, which if that happens, that might be perfect for Baker's scenario that he's found himself in. But
Stafford might retire though.
Yeah, but
Oh well, then who knows? Well, hold on, real quick, Pickle. I wanted to introduce the man, the myth, the legend, the Bat Daddy on the show. What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
What's up, man? Cody Lashney, first of his name, ruler of the Friday Free for All and champion of the YouTube chat room. What's going on, buddy? I'm in Game of Thrones mode. What's up?
Oh, dude, I love it. Hey, dude, you see the iRobot CK messaged the chat last night? Like, you go to this thing and you ask the AI to make you a story. And dude, I put a badass one that's all about like us in like a Knights and Warrior type realm shit. Go and check it out in our chat. Yeah, that was super cool. I am gonna be on Greg's podcast tonight, on some Game of Thrones after the Friday Free for All tonight. So, Greg, tell them where they can find us after the free for all.
Yeah, man. Right after this free for all at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are hopping on Geeks Chasing Squirrels Across the Multiverse. We're talking about the first 2 episodes of Doom Patrol. We're talking about this week's episode of Willow, a little bit of news, and then we're going to go all out on Game of Thrones. Unfortunately, I didn't finish the series. I still have 3 episodes left, but because now my wife is into it, I can't watch without her. That's cheating.
I hear you.
So we're going to finish it soon. But either way, I'm almost there. But real quick to this point y'all are talking about, because I want
jump in on this, man.
To talk about this specifically, and I asked y'all last night after that happened. I sent it in our little Four-Horseman chat.
Yeah.
So is it Baker Mayfield or is it Ben McAdoo? Like that's the question, because I've seen Baker.
$1 million question.
I saw Baker on the Carolina Panthers do the exact same thing week 1 against the Cleveland, and it was not his fault. He lost that game. But he won that game for us in the same manner. And while I don't think that Baker Mayfield is a world beater, and I'm not saying that he's the best in the world, I tried to defend him as much as I could, but all in all, he didn't play really well in Carolina, except for a little bit. You got to look at the circumstances last night. He's playing with backup wide receivers. Okay. It's his second day on the team. All right. In a primetime game against, I don't care what anybody says, the Las Vegas Raiders are a good team. They are seriously, what are they, 4-8 now, 4-9? They could easily be 9-4. Very easily be 9-4. What was that?
They showed a stat that quarter leads than anybody in the NFL this year.
That's what I'm saying. And I think they've lost like 4 or 5 games by less than 2 or 3 points. So like they could very easily be 9-4. I'm not saying once again that Baker Mayfield is the best in the world, but this right here shows that he can do it. He just ran a 2-minute offense, 98 yards in a minute 15 seconds on a brand new team with backup wide receivers and scored a touchdown. He can do it. Okay, maybe it didn't work well for us, but the talent's there. This guy's got the talent.
That new huddle was very
so Greg, are you under the assumption that if Ben McAdoo was a better play caller, that Baker Mayfield would have been even more successful here in Carolina, or are we just saying that Baker Mayfield kind of is who you thought he was?
I don't think that you can necessarily say that he would have been better. But I think maybe with more time, like, we threw him into this league. We talk about players not getting OTAs and training camp. He came in late to this league, or late to the team. Our offensive line did not start to click like it is until about week 4 or 5 when he wasn't playing because of injury, not because of underperformance, because of injury. Okay, and then when he came back in, he played better than PJ Walker had played in the last 2 games. You know, he came in a half and beat PJ Walker in like 2 passes.
But wasn't PJ's highs a lot higher than Baker Mayfield's
they weren't,
highs?
Because you're only looking at final score. You're not looking at PJ's stats. You're only looking at final score. Look at PJ's stats. Every game he won, he had like 175 yards rushing. When did Baker Mayfield ever have that? Not one time.
He had a running game.
On that note, I would like to take an opportunity to take a shot at Rule. Because when we're talking about what PJ and what Sam was able to do this past Sunday, well, not this past Sunday, but against the Broncos, who have a very good defense, Coach Wilkes has an identity. He exudes confidence and shit. So with Wilkes at the helm, informing McAdoo that, hey, we need to run the ball. Don't ask the quarterback to do a whole lot. If you go and look at Baker's best season thus far in his career, was it 2020? A lot of people talk about, hey, he led the Browns to their first playoff appearance. But that was truly it was a team effort. That season, they had one of the better defenses in the league. On the offensive side of the ball, they had 2 running backs go over 1,000 yards. It boggles my mind that while Rule was the head coach, you have CMC in the backfield. He's getting his touches. But then you have a running back in Deontay Foreman who's shown it's a very strong chance that Foreman's going to finish the season with over 1,000 yards. He didn't become the starter until week 6, week 7. Mm-hmm. So all of that, to me, it goes back to Rule and his identity as a head coach. He had none. He last season said that he wanted us to be a run downhill running attack. Then he changes it up once he switches his OC. Oh, you know, in the NFL, if you want to be in the playoffs, you got to be one of those teams that run. Bullshit. The 49ers are a great example of I'm a scheme my run plays up so well that I'm going to run the ball. The 49ers won a playoff game with their quarterback throwing 10. He had 10 attempts. Rule had no identity. Rule had no way of, hey, we're going to get Foreman on the field. We're going to get Foreman on the field. We're going to get CMC on the field. We're going to get CMC in the passing game. We're going to get Foreman add some touches. If they had that identity at the beginning of the season, you're not asking Baker to do a whole lot. Mm-hmm. Maybe Baker is still on the squad. Maybe Rule is still a head coach. So for me, a lot of that goes to Rule's inability to have an identity. Yeah. He wanted to throw the ball all over the field when you had a team that's suited. Like, as good as Chuba is of a running back, he's no CMC. Like, could you imagine a situation where you have CMC getting around 10, 15 touches, and you have Foreman getting around 10, 15, 20 touches? Like, that's a nightmare. I can't comprehend. Exactly. I can't comprehend how Rule couldn't understand that.
Yeah, J Issue, it says, Cody, did you want Baker as our future? Hell no, bro. Go back to our past shows. I never ever wanted Baker to be our guy. I never
I'll admit
believed
that.
him to be. I never believed him to be the guy. And I'm gonna be real, man. I know you and I disagree with this when it comes to stats and numbers, but I just think that if you look at this season, look at the performances of now Sam Darnold and PJ Walker. I think that Baker was decidedly worse than both of them. And yeah, I'm not saying that Ben McAdoo is the perfect play caller. I'm really not saying that he played to Baker Mayfield's strengths, because I think it's obvious that he didn't. But I'm also not just going to say, okay, well, Baker wasn't successful because Ben McAdoo couldn't do right by him. And just because he goes and plays the Raiders and they play off-man coverage when they should be pressing them, trying to keep them out the end zone.
You told me one
Like,
play doesn't
all
win a
of a
game.
sudden-
You
like,
can't use that
all of a
excuse.
sudden- Yeah, but I'm saying, like, all of a sudden, like, now
PJ
people are
had
like,
that
oh,
same
hey,
coverage. And hit him.
But okay,
PJ had that
PJ
same
also hit on
coverage.
those. PJ, dude, you're not
Look.
gonna put Baker Mayfield in that first game against Atlanta and tell me that he has the same performance as PJ. Like, I just
Why
don't-
can't you?
he
Why
has
can't
the
you
running
say that?
game.
You know what though? You know what? If you gave if you gave Baker Mayfield in that game, what do we have? 189 rushing yards in that game. If you give Baker Mayfield that, then yeah, maybe he does. Look, man,
but
we compared Baker Mayfield's stats through 3 games and PJ Walker's through 3 games. Remember, they were almost identical, almost to the stat identical. Passes, completion percentage, yards, touchdowns, everything was almost identical. So PJ was not better than Baker.
At-
Just
He
at-
just
at
got
the-
more wins because he had 150 rushing yards a game given to him,
Go
which
ahead,
we didn't
Alex.
get, which Baker didn't
Baker's
get.
last game with
Yeah.
us, we had 22 from Foreman.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, all the quarterbacks on our team on the Panthers, like those
Okay,
guys,
yeah,
they're not that
I'll
great.
agree with that. Yeah,
We're running the ball. We're running the ball 35, 40 times, and we're hoping
Well,
that we pass. Yeah, but I mean,
Yep.
if we're down 17-0, you're gonna see a lot of the things that why we don't have our quarterback throwing it 30, 35 times.
Good point.
That's the real reason. I mean,
Well,
Wilkes has an identity: run the ball, play good defense, but do not turn the ball over. That's pretty much what we're doing the rest of the year. Don't throw. If we have to throw it 35 times, you better bless your heart, because most likely we're not going to win that game. We're not. That's just how it is.
And that's where I do hear what Greg's saying. Like, you're not going to expect a reasonable amount of success if you're not running the football effectively for any of the guys that we're talking about. I understand that goes without saying. But it was saying they were also trying to ruin Baker Mayfield, behind the scenes, like, okay, let's not run the ball.
No.
Let's make Baker throw it all the time. And then I don't even know why you would do something like that.
Foreman only averaged 2.2 yards per carry in that Ravens game.
Let me ask you. Let me ask the group a question, okay?
Mhm.
What if Sam Darnold never got hurt in preseason?
He'd be
Who
the
would have
backup.
actually started?
That's
Who
a
would
good
have
point,
actually
yeah.
started? Because
What if
Sam
Matt
got
Corral-
first team reps in preseason. Sam got all the first team reps in preseason and in training camp. If Sam doesn't get hurt in preseason, and actually the same game Matt Corral got hurt, by the way, the same identical game. If Sam doesn't get hurt, does he enter Cleveland as the starter, and does it change the name of the game?
Well, Sam
what
got
you
hurt in the
saw-
Buffalo game. Matt
Yeah,
Corral got
Sam-
hurt in the Patriot game.
Well, okay, excuse me, but either way, it was in preseason, both of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still think they
Baker
start Baker
started.
because
You know, and I don't think Baker starts at all, and I don't think that's who Ben McAdoo wanted to start. I think you could look at the play calling and know that. I don't think Ben McAdoo wanted to start Baker Mayfield, and I think the only reason why Baker Mayfield started the length he did was because of injuries. I also believe Matt Rule was one of these coaches that's going to let the quarterback or the offensive coordinator call whatever the hell he wanted to call, and don't worry, I'll make up an excuse later type coach. Compared to Steve Wilkes, who's more of my verbology, he's more of the John Fox coaches. Like, no, I want to run the ball. We're going to run the ball. Offensive coordinator's like, well, I think we need to do this. Steve Wilkes like, sir, let me explain to you why I want to run the ball. This is not a debate. This is me, your boss, telling you here's what we are going to do.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Because I think a lot of this has to do with the difference between the way Matt Rule ran his team and the way Steve Wilkes ran his team. That would also give a lot of the answers to the other coaches who were fired even after we win a couple games that were terminated.
McAdoo never wanted Mayfield in the first place.
No, he didn't.
The
only person
that's
who wanted,
one thing.
The only person who really wanted Baker Mayfield was Matt Rule.
Matt Rule.
Matt Rule was the only one who wanted him.
And I think Matt Rule would have had Baker win that job for game one regardless. Because he wanted to be right for the fact that he traded an asset to bring Baker Mayfield in. So he wanted to make sure Baker was on the field week one. Regardless of what Sam Darnold would have done in the preseason, as long as Baker just didn't completely stink it up, Baker was going to be the starter week one.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a farce of a quarterback.
As much as I don't like Baker Mayfield, I have to look back and say to those who don't want to realize this or don't want to remember it, we would have still won the Cleveland game had one referee made one bad call.
Two in a row almost, but yeah, you're right. Yeah. Either one called correctly would have helped us. Yeah.
Exactly. And the Atlanta bad helmet call too.
Exactly, and we would have won that game had it not been. And one of the reasons why I don't like Baker Mayfield is, and I often laugh, I use his size as his excuse, and if you don't know me, Baker's probably taller than me, to be honest with you. He's probably in a whole lot better shape physically. But anyway,
we're not playing quarterback.
When you're throwing the ball, to me, the worst thing you could ever do, and the one way you're going to get yourself on my shit list, is when you hit your own offensive lineman in the back of the head with a freaking ball that you're supposed to throw. When that happens, you are no longer an NFL quarterback.
Can I ask you that, Pickle? Even though we did complain about that, you can look at the stats through through the time he stopped playing. I think the first 3 weeks, he did not lead the league in batted balls.
No,
more to the point, Baker Mayfield was the same height last night playing for the Rams. Did he have a single batted ball?
But it's just
we've got to give the offensive line some of that blame. That's not all Baker Mayfield.
No,
that's some of the offensive line. The first 3 games, they were not a top. They were not a top 10 offensive line. The first 3 games, they weren't.
But you have to answer at some point. Every time there's someone to mention what Baker Mayfield did for the Panthers, I feel like it's always coming with a litany of excuses. It's like, oh well, we weren't able to run the ball. And the offensive line wasn't doing things at the line of scrimmage. And then remember when Matt Rule was like, "Oh, our receivers need a better job separating." Essentially,
that's every quarterback, Cody.
We can't run the ball. Offensive line's not playing, and it's all Baker Mayfield's fault. Is all I'm saying.
No, I'm saying, but Baker Mayfield as a player has to take some accountability for the fact that win and loss record as a starter for the Panthers is absolutely abysmal, man.
Yeah,
and I just don't think
that's not all on him. You can't blame quarterbacks for wins and losses.
And let's be real. The Raiders blew that game, bro. That was god.
Yes, they blew.
But I'll give Baker credit, but man, dude, if I'm a Raiders fan, bro, I'm so pissed off today.
My cousin's a Raiders fan, and he was livid.
Hey man,
livid.
Hey, let me welcome 2 people to the show. My man Jay Stubbs, you already hear him. And I agree with Jay 100%. Like, to me, the Raiders, they botched that shit just terribly.
They were playing for the lead. They were trying to milk the clock, and they got caught just like dumbass New Orleans Saints did.
And he took advantage.
And I know this Raiders, man. And look, I know this man
Falcons.
agrees. Right?
We saw it a million times with Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera did that same bullshit for years, and we almost lost a bunch of games because of it.
I know this man agrees with me. G baby, Baker Mayfield's still trash, right, bro?
Man.
Bro, come on, bro. He's still trash, bro. Come on.
He's trash, but bro, man, I watched that entire game, And bruh, I would be lying if I said I wasn't impressed, dog.
Thank you. That's all I'm asking. Yes, thank
Like,
you.
bro, if you have any type of art or even love football, how could you not watch that entire game and not be impressed?
Right.
I mean, I'm
Like,
impressed.
bro, imagine going into a job that you've never worked, bro. You got 2 days to, and the thing that I love, and I hate Baker Mayfield, bro. I hate him as a football player, but as a person, I can't even shit on him because I don't know him, you know? But for him to bet on himself like that and to book a ticket to go to LA before even being signed to the team,
I think no, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I truly believe, and I have no proof, this is just what I think, knowing the way that he's operated in previous with quarterback situations, I believe Sean McVay called Baker's agent up and said, I want him on my team, and I'm going to get him.
Oh, maybe so.
And I believe that happened. I believe that's tampering, but the NFL don't give a fuck.
100% he got tampered.
They didn't give a shit when he tampered with Stafford, and they damn sure ain't gonna give a shit when he tampered with Baker Mayfield.
You can't believe that he booked a plane ticket.
That's all.
Y'all make me
what y'all are
sick,
saying
bro.
is all speculation.
Y'all
right?
make me sick, bro.
It's all speculation. There's
Y'all
nothing
made me,
to prove.
bro.
It's all
Y'all were just
speculation.
on this fucking panel last week saying that you guys wanted Baker fucking Mayfield or Sam Darnold to be a fucking bridge QB to Pee Wee, bro. The fuck are you talking about, man?
But what does Stevie have to do with this?
Oh, y'all were saying that shit.
I said Sam.
Bro, go off the fucking free for all. Every single one of you wanted fucking Baker or fucking Sam to be a bridge to fucking Pee Wee next year, bro. And that's fact.
Everybody calm down. Look, we gotta get this back under control now. Look,
y'all some biased motherfuckers, man.
We need that 1v1, baby.
But G, you put
y'all some biased motherfuckers, man.
Not everyone was saying that, G, baby. And then number two.
Oh, you said it. What are you talking about? Go back and watch the free for all, dog. And you were the ringleader, Cody. And this is the thing. How can you not shit on Ben McAdoo, bro? How can you not shit on Ben McAdoo, bro?
I agree. You
How
guys
can you not, bro? The only reason why you don't shit on Ben McAdoo is because he raves about fucking Pee Wee, bro. If Ben McAdoo didn't say nothing good about Pee Wee, bro, you'd be shitting on Ben McAdoo, dog.
Goddamn under Ben McAdoo. So why do you want to hear defend him? Baker Mayfield was bullshit with the Panthers. He's bullshit for the Ravens. And the only reason anyone thinks different is because the Raiders are fucking terrible, dude.
The Raiders were just on a 3-game winning streak, and if they win that game, they're on a 4-game winning streak. So how are they ass, bro?
Can I ask real quick? Who is Pee Wee?
That's not even goes Matt Corral.
Matt Corral.
Matt
Okay.
Corral.
That's what I thought, but I just want to make sure. I was like, I don't know who Pee Wee is.
Even though Matt Corral's bigger than most other quarterbacks.
Yeah, Matt Corral is bigger than Bryce Young's little ass, and G baby.
You're damn right he is.
The point that I'm making is this: Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. I've never been a fan of any of them. But to everyone that's like, oh, Baker Mayfield was so impressive, that the Raiders are one of the worst teams in the NFL. And now people, he never had a run game. He never had a run game, or all the offensive line wasn't blocking. Like, people just make excuses for this man. Every fucking where that he goes.
Next year, Cody, next year, if Matt Corral starts and there are drop passes, he's getting sacked, and we don't have a running game, I don't want to hear anything.
And what if Pee Wee gets hurt in the offseason? You put all your eggs into this basket. What if he gets hurt? Then what's your excuse, Cody?
Like Baker Mayfield
what's your excuse?
Man, Sean McVay, man. Sean McVay's shit.
Yeah, like Baker Mayfield wasn't hurt all the fucking time. Baker's hurt every year that he's played. So I don't want to hear nothing about it.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you, what are we going to do if we put all our eggs into this basket with fucking Pee Wee and he gets hurt before the fucking season starts again? Then what?
That's a question you have to ask yourself.
Bryce Young is 5'11", 190 pounds.
Yeah,
he's smaller than Matt Corral. The risk of injury exists for any and every player.
Right.
So what happens if we draft a QB, a rookie QB? He goes out there, he gets injured in practice.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
and by
kinda
the way,
nuts, yeah.
running backs, Travis Etienne broke his Lisfranc last year, and now he is running for almost 1,000 yards this year. So whenever people pretend like a Lisfranc injury is some be-all, end-all injury that you're never going to recover from, like that's just bullshit, straight up.
Cody, he's injured in college, though. You can't just say it's a fucking Liz Frank, bro. He was injured in college as well, bro.
He had one injury in college.
Bro, he's had multiple injuries in college, bro.
Bryce Young has been every bit as injured.
How long was Corral injured for in college?
Tua Tagovailoa's been hurt, and he's in the fucking MVP
yes.
discussion right now. So again, and he's put on a lot of weight. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, I was going to say, I was going to ask, how many games did Matt Corral miss in college? I really don't know, like from injury. Do we know? Was it
literally he didn't? The only game that he missed was but none of them. He started all of them.
Okay, so even though he got injured this year, I'm yet to call him injury prone. Me personally, just from what I know from his history, I'm yet to call him injury prone. If he gets injured next year, then he's starting to get in that discussion, though.
At the end of the day, Baker Mayfield, he's playing with house money last night. I mean, dude, if they lose, it's not his fault. It took him 2 days. Like, he was only there for 2 days. So, and he was playing with a bunch of pressures. It's house money.
We saw Cam do that shit last year, did we not?
Yeah, J Sub, that's a great point. Cam Newton did that same shit last year. And, gee, I'm not even saying that what Baker did last night isn't impressive and isn't worthy of praise. What I'm not doing, all of a sudden doing this song and dance of, oh, well, Baker could have been better in Carolina if only Ben McAdoo wasn't the play caller.
Ben McAdoo is fucking ass, bro. I can't believe we're even having this fucking conversation, bro. Like, how are we even having this conversation about Ben fucking McAdoo, bro?
Let's be real. If the start of this show at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I referred to Ben McAdoo exactly that. It's Ben McAdoo. I was on the hate Ben McAdoo wagon for 2 weeks ago. Look it up. Just because everybody comes in at the last minute and decides they want to hate on somebody and scream at everybody else because they don't scream right back that, yo, I support you, brother. The problem with the Carolina Panthers this year is real simple. Number one, our head coach for the last few years had too much power. He was hiring and firing people that never fit in anybody else's system. You had an offensive coordinator that didn't like any of the quarterbacks he was given. You had a quarterbacks coach who was never a qualified quarterbacks coach and didn't know what the hell he was doing either. The only thing he was good at was sucking on Matt Rule. You had a wide receivers coach who was an assistant wide receivers coach in college and has never, ever been a top-level wide receivers coach. You don't believe me? Look him up. It's on the internet. It's very available. He's never been a qualified wide receivers coach. You want to know why your receivers can't get open? Because unless they had veteran experience, and Matt Rule won't play the veterans.
Man, to be honest, though, they were open, though, man.
They got to be taught that.
Right. Can't both of them be true? Look, I'm not saying anyone.
I think both are a little true. Go ahead.
Yeah, but look, Ben McAdoo, I'm not saying that he's a great offensive coordinator, but I'm saying, like, to me, I don't think that you're going to bring in someone else and all of a sudden, what, Baker Mayfield's the answer here in Carolina, like everybody was wanting him to be? Like that's my thing. I'm not even calling certain people. I'm just saying the people that would say that we did by Baker because of our play calling, like, no, that's bullshit. That doesn't explain all the batted passes at the line of scrimmage. That doesn't explain all the overthrown passes that Baker made. And to me, he's just not a complete quarterback. I don't even know if he's going to continue to be successful with the Rams. Like, let me see them be a good team, and then maybe I'll say, okay, Baker has a future. Right now, he was the third quarterback on the Carolina Panthers. They had Sam Darnold and P.J. Walker above him, and I'd have done the same damn thing.
Yeah, look, what I can add on to what you're saying right here is, I think what you're saying is right. I think a little bit of both of what everybody, or like both sides of what everybody's saying here is true. It's not all one or the other. But what I can say is, based on what Baker did last night, given what he had to work with,
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
It
was
was sensational, bro. And I hate
have
Baker
more faith.
I'm really happy
Right.
for Baker. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm happy for him.
I'm too.
Genuinely.
I have more faith that perhaps had he had a better play caller calling his calls, he may have given us more. Now, I'm not saying that he would have, but there's no way to say that he wouldn't have.
I wish we had Sean McVay too. Don't get me wrong.
He has the ability and talent.
Sean McVay this season, bro, are we going come on, bro?
Well, let me ask you this.
Everything would be so different, bro.
If you put PJ Walker or Sam Darnold in that same spot that Baker Mayfield was in last night, do you get the same result?
Fuck no.
I just want to say that Jared Goff brought that same Rams team to the Super Bowl, so let's not get too carried away.
Hey man,
because I've never seen PJ Walker or Baker Mayfield do what he did last night.
Yeah, but if people are going to give Sean McVay credit for helping Baker win that game, then why wouldn't he also be able to do the same thing for Sam and PJ? I don't think that Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback than PJ Walker and Sam Darnold. Like if he is to me,
they have better running games.
But why was better here? Let me bring someone into this discussion. My man Nick, you know him and love him. What's up, Nick? Nick, you there, bro?
Oh God!
Whoa! Hey, Nick, you sound like
watch your language there, pal.
That's exactly what I think of Baker too.
Nick, you sound like an alien, bro. You gotta pop in and pop out.
You sound like an adult peanuts.
Let me say something to the group chat, to the group. For those who are new here, don't misunderstand Baker dividing the fan base. This is the way we talk in here quite often. It has got nothing to do with Baker Mayfield. That's just what we do. So calm yourself that your little hero is tearing somebody up. Okay?
Yeah.
Get off your stool. Get up. Go to the bathroom if you need to and clean yourself up. It'd be all right.
I don't think anybody in here is defending or saying Baker Mayfield is a amazing quarterback. I think what people in here who are on the Baker side are saying is, you see, he had the potential to do this. Why was he not doing it in Carolina? You take the only equation out that he's with a different team with a different play caller. And as a matter of fact, the last drive, he was in the hurry up. He was calling his own plays at the hurry up line.
And not only that, this entire time I've been hearing you guys say, "Oh, the Rams are horrible. The Rams are so fucking trash." Well, that same trash ass team, he was able to fucking get a win, but I hear you guys talk about how fucking great the Panthers are and how nice our fucking roster is, but he wasn't able to get wins with this nice ass roster. Well, why is that? Does coaching not fucking matter? Coaching doesn't matter though, right?
But
that's coaching, bro.
We threw the ball at one time, and PJ hadn't even been in the offense, but for less than a couple of days. And again, Baker Mayfield was hurt.
Cody, you're wrong on this, bro. I'm sorry, dog. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, dog. This is coaching, bro.
If there's a Brown fan in the chat, please jump in and tell us this is what the same thing they told us when Baker came here. They were everywhere, and apparently not very many people remember this. They all said that Baker has games where he looks like a superstar, but he has a lot more games where he looks like a piece of trash.
Yeah,
that's just what Baker does. Now, remember, what we saw yesterday was one game. O-N-E. One. Let's not put him up on the stool of perfection. Let's not give him the MVP award just yet. Let's see what he does next week and the week after that before we decide that he's MVP level.
Can I ask you something? What do you think David Tepper thought when he watched that game last night? What do you think David fucking Tepper thought?
Tepper said, "Good fucking riddance."
Well, to be fair, Pickle, if you really look at it, Baker started 3 games, right? Then he played half a game in game 4 and for the Carolina. Then he started 1 game with with Los Angeles. The first 2 games he started against the Giants and the Browns, he won those games. The defense lost those games for us, and bad refereeing lost those games. He won those 2 games. Should have been 2-0. Okay, he had 1 bad game after that. Then he comes in on the second half after PJ took a complete dump on the field and blew PJ out of the water, down 35-0. People can say, "Oh, he's playing against second string." That's what he should do against. That's what he should do, though. if you're playing against second string players and you put up 21 points, that's what you should do. So what do you expect them to do? Like, I mean, I don't understand. And then he goes and plays for Los Angeles. It doesn't matter. That's what he should do, is dominate them, and he did. The second half, Carolina dominated Cincinnati. We were just so far behind, we couldn't catch up. Okay, and then he goes and plays for Los Angeles and does this. So realistically, 4.5 out of the 5.5 games he's played really well this year. He didn't lose the first 2 games. I'm sorry, he didn't. As a matter of fact, he had game-winning drives in both those games.
Yeah, but again, now it's like all those losses, they're not his fault. And to me, it just takes everything away from his ability.
It's a team offense. When you got no running game, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but he never got
late. What are you gonna do?
But that's what separates.
Go ahead, JD.
I'm not saying he's the greatest.
I was just gonna say that's what separates great QBs from okay to average to.
He's never been
like,
a great QB.
Well, that's my whole argument against anyone who's saying like I didn't say this, and I did want to get it out there. As a fan of the game, seeing what happened with Baker, I saw a comment. That's what I wanted to talk about. They said that Baker Mayfield is essentially Solomon Grundy. Like, he was cut on a Monday, signed on a Tuesday.
I was gonna make a rhyme like that, yeah.
Bro, at the football fan of me, I was rooting for Baker when he was here. I didn't want him when you first traded for him, because I was like, yo, y'all fucking corral over. He gets here. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna warm up to the ideal. Hey, if you're having success, that means the team's having success. I'm gonna root for you. You're a Panther. It didn't work out. Like Greg said, I was critical. I tried to defend him, man. Like I said, week 1, the loss to the Browns. Defense had 17 broken tackles. They missed 17 tackles. Special teams had a blunder on the ensuing. We put points up on the board, and the fucking kicker shanks them ensuing kickoff. Week 2, the first two times the Panthers touched the ball, we spot the Giants 6 points. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and put all that shit on Baker, but then I'm gonna call him out. I called him out for when he was fucking up, when he played like shit. So the football fan of me, seeing what this man went through, for him to ask for a release, get signed to the Rams, have less than 48 hours with the team, and then goes out there and orchestrates a 98-yard game-winning drive. Hey, bro, like, again, the football fan of me,
with no timeout, with 0 timeout,
bro, get it. Like, I'm sitting there like, yo, get it out the dirt, my guy. That's what I'm talking about. But I mean, besides, like I said, all that being said, I was rooting for that. Like, that was some dope shit to watch. I'm not gonna sit here and poo-poo it. That was some dope shit, but it just didn't work out with us. So
there you go.
We definitely have to reflect as Panther fans. Like, we have to reflect on our team as well. Like, what's going on with us? Like, why hasn't it been successful with the quarterbacks that we brought in? Like, there's got to be something. So, like we said, I think the root of the problem, we got rid of Matt Rule. I think that was a big issue. You know, like I was gonna say,
David Tepper's an issue as well, bro. He's the one that drafted Will Greer. Remember that? David Tepper, that was Will Greer was David Tepper's guy, bro.
I agree.
And that's what started everything, man.
But we're not going to get rid of David Tepper, so we just might as well get over it and move on. Honestly, we're not going to.
So look, before we go on to PrizePicks, and I want to do PrizePicks because I think we're gonna make a damn good ticket today. But I want to go back to G Baby real quick. G, when you said, what did you think David Tepper is saying after that game last night? What did you think he's saying? Like, what are you going to tell me? Are you going to tell me that David Tepper is sus and upset that he let Baker Mayfield walk out the door?
Oh no, not at all. I think he's thinking, damn, that's what could have been here. He could have been doing that shit here. Why isn't he doing that shit here? What's going on? What are the coaches doing? What the fuck is going on, bruh? You think David Tepper is happy right now after watching last night's game? No. Look at what's been going on in the past 3 years, bro. David Tepper, I'm telling you, bro, Scott Fitterer's going to lose his job. Fucking Ben McAdoo's fired. Bro, it's got to be a complete rebuild, bro. We got to stop half-assing shit.
They're going to trade J.C. Horn, Jeremy Chan. They're going to trade Burns. They're going to trade Brown.
I don't want all that. No.
Don't break my heart. We're going to trade our first-round pick to the Lions.
No, but G Baby's right, though. I mean, like, if you think about it, the year that we got Teddy Bridgewater and then we had Joe Brady, we had 3,000-yard receivers. After that, we've been going just straight down. It's been bad.
Last year, Sam Darnold went out and beat 3 teams, and everybody was cranking him. This is a Super Bowl. We was going to be undefeated. We was going to the playoffs. My God, our time's here. And then he started losing, and everybody lost their freaking mind.
People were losing their minds about those 3 games.
Remember, it was one game.
We say he's been really good. We didn't say he
No,
was a superstar.
we didn't say that, Panther, because they played
some fans that were losing their minds about how great Sam Darnold was.
But
I will admit, I said I stand behind Sam. I remember that.
They played the Jets, the Texans, and then another team.
People said it didn't matter back then, brother.
Saints. Yeah, no.
They just didn't. People weren't looking at that. They were happy we were winning, and we were on our way to the Super Bowl.
Look, it's one game, guys. We spend so much time on freaking Baker Mayfield. One, he's not on this team anymore. Second, it's one damn game. Let him do it 3 or 4 more times. Let him do the rest of the season, and then we'll have a conversation. He'll go out next week and throw 4 interceptions in Green Bay, and we'll be like, "Oh, there's Baker."
I can agree with that. Let's put it up next week.
First game this year.
Why be Jordan?
To be honest, Baker had one good quarter.
I wasn't looking.
They're gonna trade Musin Muhammad.
Yeah, that's funny.
He's just killing the cat.
I mean, look. I'll leave it at this. Shout out to Baker Mayfield. You know, I'm not a hater. Guy is successful. The NFL is better when there's more good quarterbacks. So if he turns it on, dude, good. Fucking let him do that. I'm just saying, to me, I have not seen him.
Mark Sanchez led the Jets to the AFC Championship game. Is Mark Sanchez a great quarterback?
Hey, what you speak is true. You're absolutely right. Like, you were not wrong at all. You know what? I want to watch. This is like my Twitter thing. I'm putting a watch for the next couple weeks to find out what really happens. I have a pretty good feeling I know what's going to happen.
In the middle of last night's game, I went to bed. When I got up this morning, I saw the score. I said, "What the hell?" So I went to NFL Plus, watched a little. Actually, it was only 15 minutes because I fast forwarded it through what I already watched. But I watched the part where Baker came back and they won the game. And my exact response I posted on Twitter, well, fuck Baker Mayfield or fuck the Rams. That's exactly my opinion.
Hey, could we have a situation where in which
matter indifferent?
Could we have a situation where in which the first overall pick from the 2018 draft and the number 3 overall pick from the 2018 draft, could we have a situation where both of those guys have something of a career resurgence and establish themselves at the very minimum as good game managing quarterbacks? Maybe. Because if Sam Darnold goes out for the remaining 5 games and he's a game manager for us, we're winning all 5 of those games.
If Geno can do it, we're not canceling.
Yeah, man. And look, that's a great segue. We're going to use this PrizePicks segment to section off to the Carolina Panthers against their matchup with the Seattle Seahawks. And hey, I see Big Mike in here. We're going to get Big Mike in on the Baker Mayfield conversation. What's up, Big Mike?
Hey, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Hey, stay with me for a little bit. We're going to do PrizePicks real quick, and then we can kind of circle back and get your opinion on the Baker thing. But I do want to go over this, and we're going to preview the matchup a little bit with Seattle. So, look, and y'all got to help me out, right? Because I don't know if y'all have been paying attention, but we have been having people win legit money using the C3 promo code at PrizePicks. Everyone addicted, man. I mean, maybe not addicted. Maybe that's the wrong word to use. We got everyone really enjoying the money that they can make on PrizePicks. And these are my new rules, right? I am, if there's a good pick for the Panthers, I'll do it. And we'll discuss them right now. But I'm just looking to make a winning ticket, right? This is what I have so far. I got Justin Herbert. They're giving you 0.5 for Justin Herbert. So go pick that up right now because that's easy. I got Gabriel at more than 49.5 because I figure the Buffalo Bills are playing the Jets. Sauce Gardner's probably going to travel around with Stephon Diggs. So I kind of think Gabriel Davis is a good pick. Jamar Chase does nothing but go over 80 yards every time he plays, and they're playing the Browns. They don't have one of the best passing defenses in the NFL. And Tony Pollard at 71.5 against Houston, I got more. I think that's a good ticket. Is there anyone else that I should swap out, put in? So, yeah, that's another thing. I'm at 55.5 rushing yards. Yeah, I could probably go him. It doesn't even change.
Seattle has like the worst run defense in the league.
Ooh, that might be a ticket right there, Drew. Hey, Drew, if you're still there, you gotta get in on this conversation, man. Like, I'm trying to hit a winning ticket.
But Cody,
and I think, yeah.
Doesn't 4 players pay out the same as 5?
Yeah.
Yes.
They
so
do.
There's no point in doing more than 4, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so then which one out of all of these, which one would you clip, though?
Like Gabriel Davis.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I feel good about that one, though. All right. I'm down.
Why do you feel good about Gabriel Davis, though? Like, you do realize the last time the Jets played the Bills, they won, and they have Sauce Gardner, who's probably going to be on Gabriel Davis, who's probably going to be defensive rookie of the year.
Sauce Gardner is going to be on Stephon Diggs. Because Stephon Diggs is their number one.
Yeah.
So that was my my mindset. Sauce Gardner is
Jets
the man.
Got a good defense.
The Jets have a really good defense. Even though I sat them this week because
the best passing defense.
Yeah.
So Kev, do I need to be looking somewhere? I mean, did you think this is I mean, you're the man with the golden picks. Help a brother out, man.
Yeah.
Let me see your
other
ones.
I got Deontay Foreman. But I think that's a good number. 55.5. Tony Pollard. I feel good about that.
Take the plus on that, whatever it is. Take the plus on it.
Yeah. And they're playing Houston.
Yep.
Jamar Chase versus Cleveland and Justin Herbert. I mean, one to me is that if there's anything that y'all want me to look up, I can do that too. But
honestly, the one that I'm the most fearful of out of everything you have is Jamar Chase and 80.
Honestly,
yards. I'm almost guaranteed Tony Pollard's going to get 71.5. Deontay Foreman's going to get 55 yards. Justin Herbert's going to get 1 passing yard. Nilsson gets hurt in the first play of the game and can't throw. That's the only one I'm worried about is Jamar Chase, and I'm not even really that worried about it. It's just my least favorite of all the ones you have up there.
Well, I was trying to look at receiving yards. See, they got Stephon Diggs at 79. But I didn't feel comfortable with that.
So you think Diggs? Yeah, I guess Jets are better than Cleveland as far as pass defense goes.
I always worry about like foot injuries, like with Foreman. Like if he goes out there and he re-injures or re-aggravates that foot, they probably will just hold him out. But
I hope not.
I still like the over the 55. Oh, okay. Yeah, I still like him over the 55 though.
I believe Steve Wilkes said he would play.
No, yeah, he's gonna play. I'm just saying.
He
re-aggravates it. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, Seattle has 3 running backs and 2 of them are listed as questionable. I don't know if that be true. One of on the radio they said neither one of them would play, but I don't know that to be honest.
Even like Nick Chubb at 7.5 passing yards. Man, like that's pretty.
I think Kareem Hunt's their passing back. They put in for passing yards. He may get that, but
and Amari Cooper might not play. So maybe look at Peoples.
Let's also be fair though. With a different quarterback may not decide to pass it that much to running back. Unless it's designed.
Peoples, my man Tony Dunn is in the chat. He says, "What's Watson passing yards? 222.5 against Cincy. Oh, that's it. You know that might be a good one to go the under.
Yeah.
But which one would I take off of my list?
I hate going the under, man. I hate it.
I think those are the best picks right there on your list, honestly.
Wait, hold on. Big Mike is in here. He's a Cleveland Brown fan. Do you trust that number for Watson? I don't know. Depending on like what I saw last performance, he didn't look that great. Would you feel comfortable with that number? 222.5.
I would say if he gets over 160, I'd be happy. I'd be surprised.
You talking about Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, Deshaun Watson.
And this he may be in the same conversation I have when people talk about re-signing Colin Kaepernick. Look, after you're away for so long, man, sometimes you may just lose it. And I'm not saying he has. It was first game back, but let's keep an eye on him. Like I'm not willing to bet anything on Deshaun Watson until I see him do it again.
And I'm sure they're just going to ease him into it. They're not just going to have him go out there and throw it like 30, 40 times. They got great
I don't think this will be his year. Let's put it that way. If anything, next year's the year you start looking at Deshaun Watson as a possibility of getting.
Hey, Kev, I'm thinking if y'all think the Jamar Chase is iffy, why don't we exit out of that one and do Dak Prescott at more than 2?
That's even more iffy because if Dallas has the lead, they're going to run that ball.
Yeah, they're going to run. Big
But dude, look at his last. Dude, almost every game except for the most recent one,
which was a blowout. So what happened?
Think about it, Cody. They scored 54 points in the last game, and Dak Prescott 170 passing yards.
Yeah,
just keep that in mind.
They blow out Houston again, like.
So did you think that? So okay, what would you feel more comfortable with, Dak Prescott or Jamar at 80.5?
Probably Jamar, honestly.
Yeah, of those two, probably Jamar because you can get 8.5 in one long catch.
Yeah, Drew, get in on this, man. I want us to make a bulletproof Friday ticket. And I got
a bulletproof.
Jamar Chase, it's Burrow's favorite weapon, so he's gonna find him.
Okay, hey, let me welcome Jared to the Friday Free For All. Jared, what's up, man? You said you have a bulletproof. What's up?
Yeah, I'm lagging for some reason. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay.
Well,
so
good.
Dude Deshaun Watson, I've had Amari Cooper and Peoples-Jones as my fantasy receivers off and on all season. They've been crap. Chubb's been running. I've been monitoring the Browns. Chubb's running all day long. Kareem Hunt as well. I haven't had crap for Amari Cooper. I thought he'd be way better in my fantasy. He's cost me probably a week or so of fantasy. I'm out of the playoffs right now. So because of probably that, but I just wanted to, Watson first game, he wasn't that great, I guess. So 222, that seems like too much. They've been running with Chubb all year long, and I thought there'd be way more targets for Amari Cooper, and I was completely wrong about that. So it's kind of like George Kittle and Deebo Samuel. I thought they were going to be great, and they're just boom and bust each week. They're not consistently great. So I would do Deshaun Watson. I thought he was going to be a lot better his first game, but it's been running all day long. So
they also have Nick Chubb at 75.5. They're playing Cincy. Cincy has one of the better defenses, though. Like,
where do they have? What about CMC? With that rookie quarterback, he may be
he's
getting
at like
a lot of yards.
I think he's at 55 yards.
Well, I mean, they got a rookie quarterback. Is Deebo hurt, or is he still playing?
He's probable.
Yeah, he has. He usually plays. They say he's questionable a lot of times, but he ends up playing. But I sometimes have to sit him because I'm not going to risk my fantasy. See him sit out. So So
I would take if you're going to take CMC, I would take him in the receiving category.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's a better receiver. He lines up a receiver for them quite a bit.
Yeah. Christian has completely screwed George Kittle and Deebo Samuel on any less targets now because he's like the ultimate weapon. He does everything just like he did with Panthers.
Oh, we know.
What sucks about Christian, man, and it's like I was saying before a couple weeks ago. Like, I love Christian McCaffrey, but I honestly think Deontay Foreman is a better running back than Christian McCaffrey is. I think Christian McCaffrey is a better player overall. But Deontay Foreman's a better running back. Christian McCaffrey is really good at everything he does, but he's not great at anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's always was my issue with the coaches we've had since we drafted CMC. I feel like North Turner was the only one that properly used CMC. Like, he's not a back that you want to be giving 20, 25 carries a game.
Yeah.
But he is a player that you want to get. You want him to get the ball 15, 20 times. Like, you figure if you're running 60 offensive plays a game, you want CMC touching the ball for about a third of those.
Yep.
Like, you want him involved in the passing game. You want him involved in the running game. And I feel like with the Panthers, there was never a coach that understood that this dude he's at his best when we split his carries. Like, he's not a pure running back. He's not a pure receiver. But we can get mismatches if we put him out there at the slot. If we line him up in the backfield, it completely blows my mind that none of the coaches seem to be able to understand that. One, I think up to about week 6, Foreman had like 7 carries, like over 6 or 7 games. Foreman only had like 7 carries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't really running the ball at all.
That's why
they were putting
I was
Hubbard in
going,
too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was going off on Rule a while back. Like, his identity, his lack of identity.
Mm-hmm.
Just look, I have talented guys all across the board. I need to figure out how, like, CMC doesn't want to leave the field. Well, fuck it. I'm going to move him out. I'm going to move him out at wide receiver. I'm going to put him in the backfield. I'm going to use Foreman as my bell cow back. I'm going to try to give him as many touches as possible, if for no other reason that he's going to be able to bruise the defense up. Then I'm going to bring in a slasher type running back in Chuba and CMC. And you don't know what you're going to get if CMC is in the backfield because he can catch. For the love of all things holy, I cannot understand why it seemed like these guys are being paid millions of dollars. Couldn't comprehend such a simple concept.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, my friend. How many times do you see Christian McCaffrey go out there and told or said, run up the middle? And then you put Foreman out there and you're telling him to go to the outside. I mean, what the hell?
That makes no sense.
Go old school. Give me some 2-back formations, bro. Like,
yeah,
the shit we seen with them putting K Mays at fullback. Like, I love that shit. Like, you telling me you couldn't have put Foreman at fullback, put CMC, like, we're gonna go I formation. Foreman's gonna be my fullback
anymore. Yeah,
CMC's gonna be my running. I'm gonna put DJ out on one side, and I'm gonna have Terrace on the other side, and I'm gonna run this basic ass formation. And I dare you to stop it. Like, I can give the ball to Foreman.
That sounds like John Fox football.
Or even have Chenault run from behind, and, like, just trick them a little bit.
I got a right here. Yeah, Tony says Greg
Tony.
put down the pipe. First of all, Tony, never. And second of all, I want you to know, man, like, I'm not. I have to rephrase what I said. I said CMC's great at just about everything, but not fantastic or not great or not. He's really good at a lot of things, but not fantastic at anything. I want to reword that. He's a phenomenal receiver. I mean, the guy, if you put it in his vicinity, he's going to catch the ball. Let me rephrase this. CMC is a good running back. He's a good running back and a fantastic receiver. He's a phenomenal football player. Right. But Deontay Foreman is a better overall running back. And I can prove that because I don't think CMC's ever had 3 back-to-back games like Deontay Foreman did the first 3 games he came in. Just rushing the ball. That's all I'm saying. With the same line CMC had all year. CMC's a phenomenal player. He's really, really good. I think if he was a receiver, he'd be one of the best receivers in the NFL, to be truly honest with you. But he's not a fantastic running back. He's a good running back. But we only used him as a running back.
How many times was he injured? Because it seemed like he was always out for the season.
Good point too. Yeah, that availability is a big key factor. I agree. But
so
put the pipe down.
I disagree. He's not the best running back in Panthers history.
All right, so I know that Greg's got to go. Greg's got a podcast. Greg, do you have any final say on the ticket that I've got here, or do you think this is I think I'm probably going to go with this unless people are able to convince me of something else. This is probably the ticket I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Deontay Foreman, Tony Pollard, Jamar Chase, and Justin Herbert. Like, unless y'all think there's a safer, better pick, to me, that's the one I'm going to go with, man.
I think I may actually copy you on that, except I may look with Jamar Chase and see who's playing NBA that day, because I may replace Jamar Chase with a more sure basketball bet, to be truly honest.
Hey, that's fine. I'm trying to I'm trying to get everybody to submit their free-for-all ticket so that way
Yeah.
the free-for-all can keep winning, you know.
I put
But,
Slayton in there.
You put who?
Yeah, I do have Slayton in one of my lineups. Yeah.
Darius Slayton for the Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
He's
put
at
him on my
46.
fantasy.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Darius Slayton.
Slayton.
He's been so consistent like the last probably like 7 games.
I like him too. Garrett White or Garrett Wilson. He's been pretty solid.
I mean,
too,
they are
with,
playing the Eagles, so it kind of worries me, but
Yeah, that's the issue. Is always matchups, you know.
yeah, but he's been consistent.
Yeah, but if you're playing the Eagles blow them out. They're going to be throwing the ball, trying to catch up during junk time. So
Yeah, you can
it's
get
only
some
46 yards.
Look at his last 5 games.
I'd go 3.5 receptions, to be honest with you. I'm more comfortable with 3.5 receptions than I am with 46 yards. To
He's
be
actually, I think
truly
he's-
honest with you. You know,
I think he's hit more with the yards actually. Yeah, the last like
that
5 games.
one.
Yeah, but doesn't the Giants also have an ex, or does it the Philadelphia has the ex-Giant Bradbury?
Yeah.
Or maybe out for revenge.
Oh, no, you're right, man. Darius Slayton, that might be a good number.
yeah, you're right. That might be.
But
it,
they're,
yeah.
but they're playing
Barkley-
Philadelphia. But
Yeah.
am I wrong for thinking that Jamar has a bigger day against Cleveland than Darius Slayton does against
Oh, yeah.
Philly?
I mean, I
he's
don't know,
not-
dude. To be honest with you, Philly's almost lost a few games. Philly's not as indestructible as everybody thinks they are. They haven't run
Yeah, I
over
think,
everybody. You know,
The Commanders just
Barkley
beat
might
them.
be out.
the Commanders
Barkley might
tied
be
them.
out.
Or no, yeah, Commanders beat them, and the Colts almost beat them. Like, I mean, they're not indestructible, and they're due for a loss.
So what would y'all do? Would y'all do Darius? Because the one that I'm going to swap out, if I do, is Jamar.
I like Darius Slayton better than Jamar Chase, simply because it's a lower number.
Drew, what say you?
I agree.
Darius Slayton, as I said, I've got both of them in a couple of 2 different lineups, but Darius Slayton, 46.5 yards. The Giants probably losing that game, so they're going to be trying to throw the ball.
Barkley's out. I think they say he's probably going to be out.
So Kev, you agree?
Good for a receiver, yeah.
I have him on mine.
Do it.
All right.
I like it. No risk it, no biscuit, man. Let's do it. It's an old Stuart Scott line. Man, I miss Stuart Scott. Carolina boy.
Boom, boom.
I like it.
Go to my shit, man. All right.
You're gonna win some money.
This is my ticket for the Friday free for all. And look, if you would like to partake in the winnings of PrizePicks, and by the way, every single day I feel like I'm getting messages from people that are like, "Oh man, my PrizePicks are winning. I'm winning. I'm finally winning." Hey man, get in on this and download PrizePicks today. Play daily fantasy sports with us, and make sure to use the promo code C3 when you sign up. That is C3. Let me put it up here on the screen right quick. Use promo code C3 when you sign up. All first-time users that deposit and use our C3 promo code receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. That's right. If you deposit 100, PrizePicks will give you 100. If you deposit 50, PrizePicks will give you 50. Get in on that PrizePicks money, man. Use the code, and we're gonna try and keep on winning, man.
So
Last thing about that
I'm gonna
PrizePicks.
try and keep.
If I join PrizePicks, I get $200. I could go buy me some Manscaped stuff using the C3 code. Correct?
You should.
That's
You
right.
should.
You can
Yeah.
use the code.
That's
You
right.
can use the
I'd
code
recommend it.
Panthers.
You see how nicely trimmed I am. Yeah. So
I see it.
hey, I do want to say one thing about that PrizePicks that we sometimes forget to mention that I have had people comment on and message me about on Twitter. When you get that promo, if you put in 100 and they give you 100, you can't draw the winnings out until after you've surpassed that first 100 they've given you. So that 100 they give you, you can't use that to draw it. So like if you put in 100, you bet 20 that week and you win 200, you're going to get minus that $100 credit they've given you. So you got to get past that credit first before you can withdraw that money. So don't be, because I've had people get confused about that. Like that $100 you can't just take right out and put in your bank account. So you've got to spend that $100 betting and win off it to be able to withdraw from that $100.
And let me tell you what, it's not hard to do.
No, it's not hard to do. It's not hard to spend it either.
No, I did it very easily.
Yeah. And by the way, Grant Tony says $20 protected flex pay on NBA tonight.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, they do NBA, they do MMA, they do pretty much everything.
And you can cross sports too, which is great. Like I said, I don't like that Jamar Chase pick, but I'm going to look for an NBA pick on Sunday, and I bet you I can find at least one NBA pick that can fill that slot. So I love being able to cross sports. It's amazing.
Greg, tell them where they can find you after the podcast, and then we'll go on with this Panther talk.
Yeah, man. Check me out at the BatDaddy52 on Twitter is my personal handle. And then I'm going to be doing my show here in about 30 minutes. Geeks Chasing Squirrels Across the Multiverse. We're talking about this latest week's episode of Willow, some new trailers and stuff that came out this week, and a little bit of news. We're going to be talking about the first 2 episodes of Season 4 Doom Patrol that came out this week. And we're doing an all-out bash on Game of Thrones from beginning to end, except for the last 3 episodes because I haven't seen those yet. So it's going to be really fun. Cody's going to be joining me. Kev's going to be joining me. It's going to be a really good time. Come check us out. It's this show, but with pop culture and media instead of football. So it's basically the exact same thing. It's what I based it off of. So it'll be really fun. Come check us out. And if you don't check out the show live, you can find it on any podcatcher of your choice as soon as I drop it. Usually Sundays, Mondays, sometimes Tuesdays, depending on how much friggin'. And by the way, I just wanted to say, just fitting for tonight, I'm drinking Dragon's Milk beer. This stuff, if you've never had it, is absolutely amazing. It's 11%. So it's pretty good. It's a good stout beer. It tastes like alcoholic Yoo-hoo. I'm telling you, it is so effing good. Now, it's about $16 for a 4-pack. You're going to pay for it. But 2 of them will do you good.
Where'd you buy it? Is that like a
grocery store?
I probably have it. Okay.
Yeah.
Dragon's
Milk, man. Absolutely amazing. And I'm not getting paid for this, but I'll promote it. Absolutely good stuff. So,
yeah, dude. I need to get me some Dragon's Milk.
That's good, man.
Let's go, man.
Well, fellas, I can't wait to see y'all in a few minutes.
Yep.
Everybody else on here, it's great talking to y'all as always. Keep pounding, and I will see y'all soon this Sunday.
Keep pounding, Greg. All right, so continuing this discussion. Listen, not everybody got a chance to speak on the Baker Mayfield thing. I know Drew is ready to move on. I am too, but we'll let these people talk about it. Big Mike, talk to me, man. I need you to tell me Baker Mayfield got the W for Los Angeles on 2 days' notice. Tell me what's going on, man. Like, what are you feeling about Baker right now?
I don't know if the words vindicated comes to mind. I mean, my wife and I went down to the local pub to watch the game because we don't have the NFL ticket. And we weren't really expecting anything, but, I thought there was a possibility that he could beat the Raiders. And if he did it, ending up in Los Angeles Tuesday night, working out for a couple of hours on Wednesday, and then playing Thursday. And if he happened to win the game, this would have to have been, it went down in history as one of the greatest walk-on wins that anybody has ever seen. And I think it hasn't been done in 45 years. The 92 or 98 yard run with a $140 left in the game with no timeouts. I mean, how does that happen? But the one thing that I really am sorry is that he didn't have the opportunity to do that there, because I know you guys at the beginning had all kinds of expectations of Baker coming in, a little cautious, but slowly but surely, I could see your frustration. The talking about the batted balls and he's too short and he's not making throws, and I don't know what type of support system he actually had there, but I did do a little bit of research, and I did come up with this. His coach currently, right now, Sean McVay, has a winning percentage of .607 with 6 years experience as a head coach. Matt Rule had a winning percentage of .269 in 3 years. As a matter of fact, Baker's last 6 coaches averaged 353. Now, if having a better coach, a coach that supports you and will nurture you, because from what I understand and from what I hear from a lot of former NFL players, is they always looked for a coach that could sharpen their skills, that could grow, make them grow. I know a lot of fans nowadays expect that, if you pay for a product, you expect results, positive results. I mean, my God, as a Cleveland Browns fan, we paid $230 million for Deshaun Watson. He comes out in preseason. He is 1 of 7 for 5 yards. Then he comes back after his suspension. The defense and special teams scored 21 points. Really? If our defense if Houston wasn't that bad, we probably would have lost that game,
Yeah.
And Houston, and the funny thing is, Houston had the worst running defense in the league. So why didn't Stefanski run the crap out of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb? Why? I have no idea. So you really don't have the coaching in Cleveland. I think you all understand that you didn't have the coaching in Matt Rule. Now, I don't know what Steve Wilkes will do. It seems like he has a pretty good head on his shoulders. But what happened last night for a quarterback to walk into that situation, I mean, any quarterback, it was just simply amazing. And you can see the connection between Sean McVay and Baker Mayfield and the rest of the team. It's really funny that Odell Beckham just left the Rams. And if Baker was as bad as everybody thought he was, do you think Odell Beckham would have warned them not to hire him in any instance? So I'm saying what happened last night, I think Baker washed a lot of the bad mojo away, and hopefully in the future he's found a home there. I mean, I am a Cleveland Browns fan. I run my own fan organization here, and I will always support the team. But the way Baker was let go and what we replaced him with, I will always be a Baker fan. And just like Myles Garrett said, I always hope the best for him, from what Myles said today in an interview.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm really sorry, guys. He didn't work out. I hope
not your fault.
that you're fan. I hope that you guys find your answers in a good coach and a good quarterback. Because can you imagine what the Rams fans felt like last night? They were overwhelmed by Raider fans in their own stadium. And I just know, as a Rams fan, if I was there and Baker Mayfield threw that ball and they won the game with less than 10 seconds, I would have gone ape shit, absolutely crazy. I probably wouldn't even have my clothes on. I'd be running around just.
Oh Lord!
I will say this. I will say this in response to everything that you said, because there was a comparison made when we acquired Baker, and a lot of Cam Newton fans didn't appreciate the comparison, but it's some accuracy to it. I believe a combination of Baker's own mistakes in national media painting a picture of him as this individual, as this player that he wasn't. And a lot of people, you see an article, you see a headline, they don't dive into it. They don't do their own investigation. They'll just take it at face value and they'll form their opinion based purely off of what's being said about an individual. We Carolina Panthers fans, we saw that with Cam. It didn't matter that in Cam's entire career as a player, he had one, maybe two teammates come out and say something sideways about him, and neither one of those guys are worth, like, their statements aren't worth crap to Panthers fans. but then you have the entire national media speaking on this individual, and a narrative gets painted about him. An image gets put out there about this person, and people, they don't care about what's actually going on. By all accounts, when Cam was released from the Panthers and he was signed with the Patriots, I was rooting for Cam in the very same sense that I feel like you were rooting for Baker when he was originally with the Browns. He's a Panther now. You rooted for Baker to have success, and it didn't work out. Very similar to how Cam, he was a Panther, gets released, signs with the Patriots, and I wanted Cam to have success with the Patriots. And anytime I went to any of the Patriots podcasters or anything during that 2020 season, I don't think there was one positive thing said about Cam from any Patriots fan. And it pissed me off because I was like, you guys finished the season 7-9, and you wouldn't have been that if Cam hadn't been your fucking quarterback. You had no one at the skill position. He's thrown to a bunch of 3s and 4s. What, about half your defense opted out of the season? You guys are 7-9, in part because Cam was your QB. Give him some fucking props. Obviously, Baker didn't have a similar amount of success here, but as a Panthers fan who rooted for Cam and saw how people talk shit about Cam, for Baker to come here, like I said, I rooted for him because he was a Panther. And I'm also an individual who believes that people can change, and people that want to change and want to be better, they will show that growth. And by all accounts, from what Coach Wilkes said to what other players said about Baker, he was a consummate professional. He was a great teammate. Yeah. So, again, as a football fan, watching him do what he did last night, props to the man. You can't help but
let me introduce, you know him and love him, King Tony Dunn of the C3 Podcast, the professor himself. Tony, what's up, man? Tell us how this loss was more on the Raiders.
Yes. All right. I got company coming over. I got the kids. I can't stay. But I have to say this. I went on Pirate Radio today, and the opening segment is about Baker Mayfield. And my friend Clip Brock is upset that I have become a consummate realist, pessimist, and unexcited by life when it comes to football. This is I wish Baker the best. I hope that he finds success. I love I want players to do well in the league as long as they don't play for the Falcons, specifically Saints second, and anywhere some of those rivals. Baker was bad in Carolina, and this is not a story about Baker winning this game last night. I'm sorry. I know that there's a last-minute drive where he made a couple of deep passes. He threw in a single coverage, and people made some plays. This is a story of an epic collapse by a defense that collapses at every opportunity they can this season. They've had like 6 games where they've blown 17-point leads. They have lost like 8 games and with one score. Like every game they've lost has been a one-score possession. This is more a story about the Raiders losing this game than it is about the Rams winning this game. And look, from the stupid-ass Carr interception that he threw, that lollipop he threw up, as they described it, Baker almost threw a pick 6 on the first play of that last drive. If that corner would have been any bit better, he would have picked that and taken it to the house. Then he threw a pick and it got taken back because of a pass interference call. I think the only thing that's notable about this is that Baker just didn't know anybody on the team. He doesn't know their names, and he had to, I think that's the story, is like the walk-on part maybe, and him just being able to play the game in a reasonable manner. The last thing I just want to say before I go is I was irritated that immediately the conversation among Panther fans this morning was it Baker or Ben McAdoo? Fuck that, dude. I'm not here to overly defend Ben McAdoo.
How did I bump myself up?
But they had 3 points the whole game. It's not like they were scoring. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like McVay was just like a genius. Don't give me this system stuff. The Raiders stink. I got to go. My company's here. I'll be listening, though, guys.
Thanks, Tony.
All right, Tony.
Yeah, I don't disagree with I don't disagree at all with Tony. I mean,
He took advantage of it though.
yeah, he took it. And
Yeah.
look, man, like two things can be true. I wish him to be successful. I don't hate on the man. I just don't think that he's a great quarterback.
Just the Baker fans, just stay off the Panther Facebook page, for God's sakes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That's all I've been seeing.
Let's also
That's all I've been
remember.
seeing.
Let's also remember that the Panthers or Steve Wilkes, I would say Steve Wilkes could have been a prick about it. And once Baker said, "I want released," he said, "No, you're not going to be. You got 5 more games. You're going to sit down here and be a third string, and you're just going to deal with it." But Steve Wilkes isn't that type of guy. He said, "Okay, brother, you want gone? There you go." Let's remember that. And none of this Baker shows up for the Rams and does great would have ever happened if Steve Wilkes didn't give his approval for it. You know, besides all that, you almost got to feel sorry for the Rams. As much as they sucked this year, even their offensive coordinator is going back to Kentucky to be an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of nuance to this, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, like I said, I wish him the best, but I'm ready to move on from it.
It's a mix of both. It's a mix of both.
Yeah, go ahead,
Cody.
Alex.
I mean, it's a mix of.
We're going to talk about this game coming up.
Baker Mayfield's not the greatest quarterback in the world, but we also got to reflect on our team as well. We're not the greatest team in the world either, so we got to figure out some things as
You know
well.
that.
So,
What do you think about the Seattle game?
yeah.
Okay.
You know,
I read today.
Let's. I was going to say we need to jump into Seattle because we've talked a lot about Baker, but let's be real. The Carolina Panthers season hinges upon this game. Now, let's put it this way: we are so close to the edge that the Panthers really can't afford to lose another game. We needed the New Orleans Saints to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that didn't happen. So now they're 2 games up, and we're going to need some help. Even if we win out, we still need some things to happen ahead of us before the Panthers get the top of the division. Think about this matchup with Seattle, and do you think our offense is built to beat them? Because on the surface it is, right? You run the ball, you know, take some limited shots with Sam. How are we feeling about this matchup? I'm going to go to Drew. I haven't heard from Drew in a minute. Drew, jump in on this, man. What do you think about this matchup with Seattle, and how's this game going to go down?
I think we have a very good shot against Seattle. Their run defense is like the bottom of the league, and we run the football. As long as Deontay Foreman is healthy, as long as our offensive line is intact and they're healthy, I think we control the clock like Wilkes wants to do. We run the football. We put points on the board. We play sound defense, and we walk out of Seattle with a win.
And not only that, Kenneth Walker might be out.
Yeah, that's also true. Kenneth Walker might be out.
1 in 5 on the road against Seattle.
One thing I do want to see, though, and that's 1 in 5, but hey, I
was at the one.
And that was in 2015 when Greg Olsen caught that touchdown pass from Cam Newton. But
that's the one game.
Every season is different. This Seattle team has played decent football, but they're not unbeatable. And I want to see J.C. Horn on DK Metcalf. I know he won't shadow him, but when they do go up against each other, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
That's a matchup.
That's
I'm
the
looking forward to
matchup.
seeing too.
Same, man. That's the matchup. I mean, but that does have me thinking that Tyler Lockett could have a big game versus C.J. Henderson if they put J.C. Horn on DK Metcalf the whole time.
Yeah.
They may have to use Xavier Woods over the top and try to give C.J. Henderson some help.
Well, let's remember Xavier Woods was limited in practice all week, so he's suffering some
Woods
injuries.
said that everybody. He said he's pretty sure everybody was going to play at this point.
Yeah. Also, let's also remember the Rams and the Bucks, who aren't good at running. Neither one of them had a good many yards on the Seattle defense. So, in my opinion, if we can get the run game going real good, and plus also Seattle likes to turn the ball over. So, if we can, our defense works and our offense works, we're going to come out with the W.
Yeah.
I just see that happening. So.
Yeah, I just. Hey, Big Mike, I know you're not a Panther fan. I don't know if you wanted to jump in on this or not, or if you wanted to leave. That's 100% cool. I appreciate your insight. I know every time we've had a big conversation, you've been a great part of it. So, is there anything you would like to add about either the Panthers and the Seahawks, or would you want to say something before you had to leave? I'll put the floor to you, my man.
Well, I did have grandparents who lived in Shelby, North Carolina, so I guess I got a little bit of blood in me. But
we'll accept it.
But I will say Memphis barbecue is better.
Oh, hang up on him. He's out of
All right, gotta go. Bye, Mike. I'm playing.
I don't even like barbecue, to be honest about it. Folks in Tennessee, their barbecue is better.
Panther pick out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Panther
pick was got good too.
Well,
I
know you guys.
I do like steak.
I know your show's been hijacked by some Browns fans here and there, and I know Baker's maintained a lot of the talk. But truthfully, I wish you guys the best. I mean, football fans are the best fans in the world. We put up with a lot, and there's a lot out of our control. And my God, the sport's becoming expensive to even, support. But I wish you guys the best. I hope you find the coach you want. I hope you find the quarterback. I hope your team prospers. And I only wish the best for your city. I was really, as a matter of fact, I gave Felix Wright, a former Cleveland Brown, he was out in Las Vegas, $25. And I think I showed you the very first time I was on the show that I had my receipt for the Panthers to win the Super Bowl this year. This is how much, I was supporting you guys. So, but yeah, I do have to get out of here. I'm kind of making some midnight chili here. So, but anyways, thanks for having me on the show. And I only wish you guys, like I said, the best of luck. And, we'll talk soon, possibly next year.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, anytime you want to come on and talk football, you can come and do it here, man. So I appreciate you once again. Everybody, that's Big Mike. Big Mike.
All right, Big Mike.
Man.
We'll see you.
All right, see you,
Mike.
I just want to add real quick, my friend, then I'll stop. I read today that Pete Carroll calls Panthers offensive line the best offensive line that they faced this year. That's a hyped up offensive line.
Hey, he may not be the top ranked offense, but our offensive line is night and day better than what we had last year.
Yep.
Icky hasn't given up a sack since week 2.
Yep.
Right.
I'm still not sold.
Our rookie left tackle has not given up a sack since week 2. And I can make an argument that the 2 sacks he gave up against the Browns, one of them was more so Baker's fault because it was supposed to be a 3-step drop, get the ball out your hand. Baker held on to it and got blown up by Garrett. And the other one, Icky was expecting to have a better chip block from Tommy, and Tommy just kind of whiffed on it, and Miles got around him again.
Yeah, Icky's going to be one to watch. Also, he's also coming in with a slight knee injury.
Yeah. I read something just recently that Odell won't pick a team until the playoffs starts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would a team pick him up at this point?
Oh, they would.
At this point, it just adds another option that you have to defend.
Yeah, man.
But listen, I want to kind of bring it back to this game too. And, we were talking about the trade rumors earlier in the year with Brian Burns. Well, the NFL put out this list, and they've got my man as a top 5 edge rusher in the NFL. Like, I mean, to me, we were talking about, well, Brian, you do it because you're going to have to pay him soon. And then a lot of people were like, oh, this is not, he's not a premier player in the NFL. So I'm like, I never really agreed with that, but we see Brian Burns get better and better and better. So, do you think that Brian Burns is going to be a part of the reason why the Panthers win this matchup? And by the way, whoever has their TV going in the background, got to turn it down a little bit so that there's a background noise, if that is you. But I mean, do y'all think that Brian Burns is going to be one of the reasons why we have a chance to win this game against Seattle?
I'm gonna say hell yes, because for one, we got 5 games remaining. If Burns were to just get 1 sack for the remaining 5 games, that would give him he'd need 15 and a half sacks to tie the single season sack record for the Panthers. I feel like Burns is gonna fucking take that record. Like, he's going to take it and be the sole leader for the Panthers. Like, I don't think it's funny. The Seahawks don't run the ball very well, and they can't stop the run very well. It's a recipe for disaster for them. It's a recipe for success for the Panthers, because we know what Wilkes wants to do. We know what the game plan is going to be over the next 5 games. I believe that if the Panthers get a lead, like if we're able to get a 2-score lead, as the game starts to you get into the middle of the third, starts to get into the fourth, the Seahawks, they can throw the ball. Geno Smith has been very good with getting the ball to DK, to getting it to Lockett, but that also opens up an opportunity for that front four, the pass rush. Like, over the last few weeks, we've seen Louvu step up. He's helped out with the pass rush. I think Haynes, over the last 2 games, Haynes has 3 sacks after going like most of the season having none. He has 3 sacks in the last 2 games. And you got Burns, who just hit double-digit sacks for the first time in his career. And I genuinely don't think Burns is done. Like, it's going to be a combination of him trying to help this team succeed, wanting to have the first plus 500 record since he been a Panther. And I could very well see a situation where Burns goes out there and he has a similar performance to what he had against the Broncos. Like, he just takes over the game. Like, all it takes is, I say, 2 or 3 plays where he just comes off the edge and he can't be stopped. I can very well see Burns having another 2-3 sack performance.
Do we know what the record is?
I would say
I want to say it's 15 and a half.
I would say look under Brian Burns' name. We're gonna be facing that dude too.
The what?
Look under Brian Burns' name.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, that's a great point. Uchenna Nwosu, they have as a top 5 edge rusher as well. But do you think this lends any validation to the Panthers not trading Brian Burns earlier this season? Like, he's been by far the best player on defense that we have.
I would say Derek Brown has.
Okay, better than
Let
Burns.
me ask you.
Yeah.
Do you think Burns and Brown have gotten better since Steve Wilkes has taken over? I mean, tremendously better. Because I think for Burns especially, I think Wilkes' defense allows him to concentrate on defensive end more than
I also
just
think they played
dropping back
worse
coverage as
offenses
much.
too. I think they played worse offenses too.
Well, I never thought that, but I would like to think that they have improved because of Steve Wilkes, but maybe I'm just biased. I like Steve Wilkes.
No, I mean, I do too. I do think they've gotten better. But hey, let me welcome Will, the Panthers fan, to the podcast. Will, what's going on, man? You there? Hey, you're muted. I don't know if you can hear me or not. All right, we'll come back to Will. I mean, yeah, look, I know that they are not defending the run very well. And part of the reason why, if you're a Panther fan, I think you have to like the Panthers' odds in this matchup is for that reason. It's because we're running the ball effectively with Deontay Foreman. And I just think we're running the ball effectively enough where we're a team that's meant to beat them right now. I mean, they had a good matchup recently. They just narrowly came out on top, I think. Their most recent performance, but I don't know. I'm not scared of them. Yeah, against the Rams, and I'm not. Not only am I not afraid of them, but I think this is the most competitive game left on the roster. I really do. I think that they are the most dangerous opponent.
Detroit. That's what I think.
Really? More? You don't think Detroit is more?
Have you seen Detroit lately?
5 in a row or 6 in a row?
Yeah, I guess it's not about how you start; it's how you finish.
Well,
yeah, maybe so.
They're favored against Minnesota this week. Detroit,
Wow,
which is
really?
nuts. Yeah.
So, dude, what the hell happened to Detroit?
Their offense is crazy,
and they're starting to play a little bit better defense. A little bit, not
Goff
much.
is like a top 10 quarterback right now.
Yeah. So it's gonna be. I mean,
I think
it's gonna be tough.
I think Detroit's a lot more balanced. I think they're at a point where if you want to run it, they can run it. If you want to play pass it, they can pass it. They're just overall balanced, and defenses don't know. Defenses going in and say, okay, they're passing, we're going to stop their pass, and then Detroit runs it on them. So I think right now Detroit is so balanced that teams are having issues figuring out how to stop them.
What's gonna suck? What's gonna suck? This is that Saints game, Cody, on Monday night was huge. That they didn't win that game, because now with 5 games to go. We can't go down 3 games. We can't go down 3 games to Tampa, or the season, like as far as the season goes, or playoff hopes is done. So
yeah, we got to
win out.
Killing it since the divorce. Since it's divorce.
But either way,
hold on. Wait, tell my pickle. You broke up real bad, Kevin. Say that one more time.
I said since Tom Brady's divorce, he's been killing it.
Yeah,
I think he's like 3-1.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams are just playing better football now. But Josh, he said the offense, or the Seahawks, they have a high-scoring offense. So, is there any fear of their offensive attack, or are the Panthers really going to be able to pin their ear back and put Geno Smith on his ass?
They don't really have. I don't think they have a high-scoring offense. I think what they do is they throw quick passes so much because they don't trust their offensive line that it makes them look like they have a high-powered offense. But their quick passes is what gets teams, because teams don't know how to stop the quick pass. So they put more safeties and corners out there to stop that, and they ended up getting run on. I don't think Seattle has a traditional high scoring offense. They do a lot of quick passes to make up for that. But I believe we can. I believe if our defense comes to play, but hey, if our defense comes out and doesn't want to play till halftime, it's going to be too late by then. So you gotta pull your big boy pants up from the beginning of the game to the end. Don't come out at halftime think I'm going to change now.
But is Geno Smith just going to torch us through the air? Like, that's kind of what I'm worried about.
It could be happening.
I feel like whenever we play good quarterbacks, they have really good games against us. You know? Minus, but again, that was, I don't know. I think the Ravens are wild overrated right now, but I don't know. I just the passing attack frightens me between DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett.
I think some of these games, I think we've lost these games more than the other team won it. And I hope this is not one of them, but it may end up being, because we've hurt ourselves in some of these games this year more than the other teams has just played better. That's just most of them. We've hurt ourselves more than the Ravens game. We hurt ourselves more than the other teams played better. I hope this ain't one of them, but
this is going to be a tough game. This is going to be a tough game on the road. I mean, in Seattle, it's loud.
Yeah, you got C.J. Henderson out there, and I mean, C.J. Henderson, he's going to cover one of them. He's going to cover Lockett or Metcalf. You better hope that you've got a safety over top. You're just going to.
By the way, that last dude that was in here, I think he was totally trying to flash some porn or whatever on the screen. But I know when there is a dude trying to like bomb the stream, I've got my little tricks for making sure that they don't pop up. But Alex, I want to go back to this matchup with you. Why are you confident in the Panthers right now? And what is that confidence level going into Seattle?
Yeah, I mean, confidence level. I mean, we're playing better football. I mean, we are playing better football with Steve Wilkes. So that's the positive note. This is a huge game. I'm sure Steve Wilkes has the whole team, and he's let them know like this is where the good teams are separated from the bad teams. I mean, plain and simple. I mean, there's 5 games left. The month of December, this is where these are the big games. Like, you got to win these games. So, I mean, he's going to have them ready. I mean, they had a week of preparation, an extra week to prepare for Seattle. So, I am confident. The only thing is that we are 1-5 in Seattle. Anytime, even if the West Coast comes down to the East Coast or East Coast comes down to the West Coast, it's very tough, to go out there, adjust time zone difference, come out there and play a football game. Just as humans, I just know. I mean, and I also read that Wilkes is bringing them in on Saturday, not on Friday. So they really don't even have a day to like, get adjusted. They're just going to go out there and then, come out there and play. So, I mean, it's going to come down like plain and simple, like running the ball, don't turn the ball over. And hopefully, let's like keep the penalties down. This is where our O-line, especially in Seattle, like let's hope that we don't have a lot of false starts, because it happens a lot.
Yeah, well, that's actually kind of where I was going next. Is anyone worried about us being kind of lackadaisical coming off of a bye? Like, is anyone kind of concerned about that?
I don't know. We used to do that. We used to come out after a bye and we were like, bleh. We just was. But I don't know. And going up there on Saturday instead of Friday, Ron Rivera used to do that often. If he felt that people were too relaxed for a game, then he'd go up out west somewhere on the Saturday instead of the Friday. So,
yeah.
Ron used to do that some. I never did understand why, but that was the one time we run one in Seattle where Greg Olsen did that good catch at the end of it for the game winner. We went up there on the night before.
Yeah,
I mean, and that game, by the way, I was at that game, Cody. That game was unbelievable. I mean, to be there, like, it sounded like a pin dropped right when Olsen caught it. I mean, it was quiet in there in Seattle. I mean, you can hear some of the Panther fans, but it was incredible. That game, like, that's probably one of the best sport moments I've ever witnessed, like, in real life. I mean, that game was just, it was incredible. And I knew after that game, I told my buddy, this is going to be a magical year. You watch. And I mean, for the most part, it was. I mean, we went to the Super Bowl, we lost, but it was a good year.
I like this comment right here.
Well, we've had 2 weeks to scheme him up and get Sam settled in. I don't think we're out there and punch him in the mouth early and or I think we go out there and punch him in the mouth early and off. I agree, man. I agree.
I mean, it's gonna be Panther football is ugly. Panther football is ugly. They're gonna have to win this game like 2017. Like, it's got to be an ugly game. They got to have to play some defense and run the football.
Y'all remember watching the game in 2008? Well, some of you may not. I'm sorry. 2008, the Panthers went to Tampa Bay, and we were pretty much going to lose this game. But we had a rookie running back and D'Angelo Williams. A rookie running back's named Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams, and we run all over the Bucks. I mean, that's where Jonathan Stewart pretty much did the stiff arm like a push-up on that
was my screensaver for so long.
Exactly, it was mine too for so long, and it was so cool. And fact is, the very next week the Raiders did it. And after that, it was Gruden throwing the towel, said, fine, I'll trade everybody. He hated the Panthers for a long time. Even when he went on TV, he said, this team costed me my job. But anyway, I don't know. But you can win real good on a running game, and I'd love to see that up here. But I don't think Seattle is as good as their record shows. I just don't. Now I may be wrong.
Yeah, I don't think so.
If I am, well, if I am, I'm real certain somebody will tell me that next week. Probably G Baby. But anyway,
I think they've been slowing down.
Also, I want to if Sam goes out, and because I put it in the chat, but I feel like I think going into the Broncos game, I was seeing comments on Twitter and everything online when people were talking about Burns isn't a premier pass rusher. He hasn't had that game where he takes over and then Burns goes out there and he does that. I'm still waiting on that game where DJ goes out there and he can't be covered. Like any and everything that comes his way, he's coming down with it. I'm not expecting it to happen this Sunday, but I do expect there to be a game over the next over the next few games we have left in the season, where in which Sam and DJ just have a outstanding game. It could be this Sunday. I don't expect it to be, but should Sam go out there and play, like I said, at that game manager level or higher, I'm going to come back onto the show and I'm going to tell people to eat crow about McAdoo being a terrible play caller. And I'm also going to come out there and I'm saying praises to McAdoo's evaluation, because if Sam is at that game manager level or better, when they were talking about the 2018 draft, he had Josh Allen as the best, Lamar after him, so on and so forth. I vividly remember him having Sam before Baker. He had Baker as the worst rated QB in that draft, and he had Sam one place above. So, again, if all of this comes to bear any fruit, I'm also going to hop back on the show and I'm going to start talking about how Corral needs to be the starter next year. Because if McAdoo is like, hey, this guy knows, I know what the fuck I'm talking about when I see talent, and he's saying that Corral has it, there's no reason for the Panthers to go into the draft and move up in any way, shape, or form and draft the QB. You take a fucking pass rusher or the best available linebacker. You strengthen the defense, if you will, because Burns does need a true partner in crime on the opposite side of him. You make the defense that much better, and then you put Corral out there behind the Great Wall of Carolina, and we see what we have. So
hey, look, I'm 100% on Team Corral, man. I want him to get a shot. I think he's good. I think that, especially if you consider the type of offense that we're running, I think Matt Corral's offense. I've been playing this.
I get it. You guys want Matt Corral, and he might be the guy, but I don't see any way Carolina doesn't come out with a quarterback out of the first round this year.
No, I agree with you, Drew. I think that here's the deal. But here's the deal, though.
I definitely do.
Back in the first round twice. He's not going to let it happen a third time.
But here,
they're not going to be able to get him if he's in the division.
But I think that depends on what quarterbacks are available, though. It's a big if, and we really can't have this conversation until we know where we're picking in the draft.
There's going to be two quarterbacks in our range, and it's going to be Anthony Richardson and Will Levis. Those are going to be the two quarterbacks.
But how do we know? But everybody's talking up Will Levis. Everybody's talking up Will Levis
without a quarterback.
But everybody's talking up Will Levis so much right now that I don't even know if he's going to be available, depending on where we're going to be picking. Like if we're outside of the top 10, I think it becomes more plausible that we look at other positions and see if Richardson is there. Maybe later on.
You see Derek Carr last night?
Anthony,
it didn't look great.
In all complete honesty, Anthony Richardson is a third round, at very most a second round. He's not a first round talent. He's just not. And I go back to this past draft and the year before that. Everybody wants to hype him up right now and call him a first round pick because they look at him and they love how he's running and he looks just like this because he reminds so many people of Cam Newton. He's not a first round pick. If you look at, everybody said Malik Willis was going to be a first round pick last year. He wasn't. He was a third round pick. Nobody wanted him in the first round and nobody wanted him in the second round. He was taken by a team nobody thought would take him, and that was the Titans. Everybody said that Desmond Ridder would go in the 4th round. He went right after Malik Willis in the 3rd. I don't see Anthony Richardson being at the very most in the late 2nd, maybe. You know, and again, and Cody knows this, again, the interview process that these teams go and the valuation that they talk to and those involved in the everyday life of the quarterback prospect is going to come into by far they're more than they're going to see on game day.
It only takes one person to fall in love with a quarterback. And Pickle, I hear what you're saying, but also if you go back to the year Lamar Jackson was drafted, they said he couldn't be, he wasn't gonna make it in the NFL. He wasn't a 1st round pick. He couldn't throw the ball. All he did was run around, and he was a highlight reel. And if anybody drafted him, he was gonna end up being a bust in 2 years. And he ended up winning the MVP of the league.
Right, and the only reason why the Ravens traded the last pick in the 1st round to get him was because they were scared of somebody to take him in the early 2nd.
And they wanted to
get your option on him too.
Not everybody is going to turn out like Lamar Jackson.
And I understand that, but they didn't expect Lamar Jackson to turn out to be Lamar Jackson.
They also
Anthony Richardson isn't going to turn out to be something
Lamar was very accurate.
I'm not saying he ain't.
And by the way, but hold on, but wait a minute. But look, we don't even have to compare Lamar and Anthony Richardson. Why couldn't Anthony Richardson be capable of, say, what Jalen Hurts is doing for Philadelphia right now? Which I think anyone would tell you is more than enough. And by the way, also fell in the draft and didn't football until his 3rd year. Like, that's also what I'm saying to everybody that wants to draft a quarterback. If you're thinking, no matter who we draft, if it's Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, or Richardson, no matter who you're drafting, to think that they're going to be able to come in here and be ready to compete day one as a starter.
No. I told you. Cody.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson's a year or 2 year, bro. He's going to sit his 1st season. You draft him, he sits on the bench.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not even.
If you draft Anthony Richardson and you've got Anthony Richardson and Matt Corral, you bring in a veteran. If Sam Darnold plays out, bring him in on a team-friendly contract and let him mentor those guys and let them sit behind him. But in a year or two, you're going to have 2 quarterbacks that are going to be battling it out, and hopefully they're going to do some damage.
I would like that. And
another way.
I'm not opposed to a competition for Matt Corral. I really think that he's like that, and I think that he has a great chance. And again, I know people don't think we're going to retain Ben McAdoo, but to Jordan's point, Ben McAdoo being a Matt Corral guy, I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Corral did fit right into Ben McAdoo's offense if we did retain him. Go ahead, JD.
No, I was going to say another way that the Panthers could go about drafting a QB. I would compare us to the 49ers in the sense that the 49ers were able to make the playoffs. They were able to make it to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G at quarterback. And no one thinks Jimmy G is a world beater. He might be the epitome of a game manager at quarterback. But then you look at what that team has surrounding Jimmy G to include that defense. That's part of the reason why I'm saying that we're a piece or two away on the defensive side of the ball. And I believe we'll be drafted in a position where we could go and get Burns a running mate. We could possibly bring in a pseudo heir to Luke Kuechly, which would put the defense, will help defense take another step in the right direction. So
also, we have to remember though.
It's my show now.
He sounded like my younger when he was little. To be honest, we also have to remember who the offensive coordinator and the coaches count much more than who the quarterback's going to be. We could have these discussions all day. the particular offensive coordinator. If we per se go get a different head coach or say a different offensive coordinator, those inputs that they have are going to Temper's going to listen to them more than and his scouts. They're going to pay attention to those things. When we may put a guy higher on our list, he may hire an offensive coordinator or head coach to say. None of them guys are worth anything of a first or second round pick, and then we're back to 0-1. So I don't know what they're going to do then either. So I don't, but I'm just saying there is a possibility of that.
But to finish up what I was trying to say about like the comparison between the Niners and what the Panthers could be, if we were able to strengthen our defense, which is right now the strength of the team, but you take a strength to make it stronger. We have a solid offensive line. We have DJ Moore. Terrace Marshall seems like he's emerging. He's becoming a solid receiver. Maybe you go and you bring in a veteran guy, another veteran receiver, and whomever's at quarterback, you genuinely all you're asking them to do, whether it's a rookie, whether it's Corral, a second-year player, but he's essentially a rookie himself, whether it's Sam Darnold, you're not going to be relying on them to go out there and win you games. You're going to be running the ball, playing great defense. So if the Panthers end up with, I say like next year, if Wilkes decides to retain McAdoo, and Corral doesn't look very good in McAdoo's offense, I'm a huge believer in that. You have the defense ready to go, and I think you see that you kind of saw that with the 49ers. They have their defense ready. They have Deebo Samuels. They went out and got a Christian McCaffrey, and they traded so much away to move up in the draft because they felt like Trey Lance was going to be their guy. I don't see a reason why the Panthers will be able to do a similar thing. Like you give Corral 2 years to see what he has to prove, or give him 2 years to prove himself. If Corral's not cutting it after that time, there's no reason why the Panthers can't say, hey, fuck those draft picks. Let's get us a quarterback because we're a quarterback away right now.
But still, you're kicking the can down the road again. There's only so many times you can kick the can down the road. If there's a quarterback there that they feel like after they do their evaluation can be the guy, you take him. If you have two quarterbacks on your roster, the Commanders did it when they had RG3 and Kirk Cousins. They took them both in the same draft, actually.
That probably ruined RG3 though.
If I may chime in, I read an article that it was about Scott Fitterer today on The Athletic.
Yeah, I saw that. That was good.
It describes Scott Fitterer was taught. Way back in the day, he was taught at a certain that he actually gave. I remember the whole damn thing now. But he ended up bringing in
saying
a quarterback.
You have to, right?
Well, yeah. He brought in a quarterback when he was with Seattle. Yes, exactly. Yeah, Fitterer's going to have to. When Fitterer was when Fitterer's mentor was in Seattle, he brought in a veteran quarterback that was a backup in the Steelers, and he ended up signing a guy to a 3-year deal that came from the Packers. And then in the third round, they drafted this guy that they thought that he may develop at some point, named Russell Wilson. But I mean, that being said, if it's not the first round, I believe it's going to be the second or third round that we draft a quarterback. I'm not saying that we won't draft one at all.
And by the way, I also think the pressure that Fitterer is going to feel, and they mentioned that in that same article too. Matt Rule kicked that quarterback can down the road to the point where you can say that it cost him his job. Picking Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield over other available options that they had at the time, that was his downfall. And if you're Fitterer and Dan Morgan by that same reference, like those two guys are really working hand in hand. I really think that the amount of pressure they're going to be under to draft a quarterback is going to be enormous. But again, it depends on what the Panthers do. If for whatever reason,
Matt Corral's the guy. You might not even do it.
And who knows what they think? The fact that we haven't been able to see Matt Corral, that's a big deal too. It is going to essentially be his rookie season next year, even though it's the second year. There's not a lot of great answers right now for the Panthers. You're either going to draft an unproven prospect, or you're going to have to go forward with somebody that's kind of been injured, at least up until this point. I'm not ready to put the injury-prone thing on Matt Corral. Not yet. Not especially after seeing what Tua Tagovailoa has been able to do. But I don't know, man. Look, me and Kev are getting ready to go over and do Greg's show. So let's do some picks and our player of the game and our final score prediction for this matchup. We're going to start with Panther Pickle. Give me your final score of the game and who wins.
Well, it ain't going to be what I just posted in the chat. I just said that to tick somebody off. But I think the Panthers will win this game. I think it's going to be 24-7, and I think the Panthers would dominate on the run in the run game. I think Dante Foreman puts over 200 yards rushing, and I think Brian Burns and Derek Brown gets a sack. I think Brian Burns gets 2 sacks, and Brown gets a sack or a forced fumble.
Okay. Sack or a forced. And what was your final score again?
24-7.
Damn. All right. So a dominant performance. Panthers. I like that. Big Drew, what you say, man? What's the final score? Who's gonna win this thing? And who's your player of the game?
I was close to Pickle as far as the score. Well, kind of. I had the 24, but I thought it was 24-16 Carolina. And I got to agree with Pickle. I think Dante Foreman is going to just – and the offensive line is going to be the player of the game. I put it like that.
Okay.
The offensive line.
I can see that.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different options when you look at this game. I mean, I can see it going either way, high scoring or low scoring, just depending on what versions of these teams show up. White Chocolate, the man himself, White Chocolate Espresso, give me your player of the game, who's going to win, and what's your final score?
I think it's going to be 17-13, and it's going to be Dante Foreman.
Hey, Dante Foreman, Carolina Panthers. I'm assuming with the victory there.
Yeah.
All right. JD, are you there? You still with me, man?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Give me your player of the game, your score prediction, and who wins.
I'm gonna say 27-13 Panthers, and I'm gonna kind of cheat on this. I'm gonna say Foreman and Chuba are the players of the game. I believe both of them are going to have over 100 yards rushing.
Oh, okay. Foreman, a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Foreman and Chuba combo. I like that. And you said 27-14?
27-13.
27-13. All right. I mean, hey, man, we got a lot of Panther confidence going around right now. I think this is our season, y'all. I think if we lose this game, I really don't even see this division as being in contention anymore. I just think that we fell too low. We might not be mathematically eliminated if we lose, but still, man. And then last but certainly not least, my man Alex, 814 Panthers. Give me your player of the game, your final score, and who wins.
First off, I hope we do win this game, but I'm going to say 21-17 Seahawks.
Okay.
And I just think, coming to Seattle on the road, it's a tough game. I know it's a huge game for Carolina, but it's also a big game for Seattle too, because, they're in the playoff picture. They want to win. And, at home versus the 12th man, I think it's going to be a tough game. So, I mean, I think it's going to be 21-17. Player of the game. I guess we're losing, but I'm going to go Deontay Foreman. I think that's going to be the player of the game, if anything. He'll probably have a couple touchdowns, 80 yards. So that's what I think. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, that's my prediction.
No, hey, that's reasonable. I mean, I think that if we do lose, I don't think we're going to get blown away. If we did lose, I think it would be a tight performance. I'm actually going to go the other way, man. I'm going to say that it's going to be, and I'm going to have a little bit higher scoring than most. I'm going to say 27-24 for the Carolina Panthers. And I think the player of the game is going to be none other than J.C. Horn. I think he's going to get an interception, and I think he's going to hold DK Metcalf to under 25 receiving yards. That's what I think.
Wow. If Horn does that,
should have put it on PrizePicks.
Bro, if Horn holds DK to less than 50 yards receiving, we need to pay him.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, maybe. I'll say this. I like that rookie contract that we've got going for him right now. But, dude, J.C. Horn is the man. I think he's going to be the best young corner in the NFL for a long time to come, man.
People may not like this, but I'm not in favor. After we've done it a few times and it's bit us in the ass, I'm not in favor of giving a player a big contract until I have to.
On that note,
may not
I
be
know
fair, but
there's a player coming out of the University of South Carolina who very damn well might be walking in the same shoes as a Gilmore, as a J.C. Horn. I would very much love for the Panthers. I know we're probably not going to, but I would love to see Cam Smith and J.C. Horn in a Panthers uniform.
Is he available this year, JD?
Yeah, he's entering the draft. He's entering the draft. Horn is like that quiet guy. Cam's that shit talking.
Yeah.
Like
they said he's going to be a first rounder.
Well,
they're expecting him to be a late
first round pick on a corner, but I didn't. Yeah. I didn't a couple years ago either, and we did.
Hey, J.C. Horn.
That's very true.
Kev, you were going to say something. What were you going to say?
I was just saying he's supposed to be a late round pick, or first rounder.
Yeah. So good question. Will he be there at pick 34 or our first pick in the second round?
He should be.
He may be.
Oh, probably not. He'll probably take.
He'll probably be gone by the towards the back half of the first.
Yeah, because I always remember what Scott Fitterer said, or he made a slight comment to it back when they were talking about what we got back from McCaffrey trade, and he said these picks will give us room to trade up for a quarterback. Yep. Everybody assumed he was talking about the first round. Maybe he was talking about taking the second round pick and trading back into the first round for a quarterback.
You can do that.
I mean, that's the ammunition that he has to do that if he wanted to do that. That being said, there may be a quarterback middle to late first round that Scott may want, if one's there that they like.
Spencer,
So as much as crap as Spentler right now,
and on that note,
I would take Anthony Richards in the first round before I take.
They got bit by the rattlesnake.
Spencer Rattler at all.
Dude, let me tell you, whenever you hear Spencer Rattler, that's when you know we gotta get the hell off this show because it's off the rails,
Cody,
dude.
Cody. If you're doing a draft show and Spencer Rattler is drafted by the Panthers, just shut it down. We ain't gonna be able to deal with Kevin. Just shut it down.
Ain't gonna be able to deal with me either.
No, that's what I said. Well, I'm just gonna shut it down.
If we draft Spencer Rattler, y'all are never coming on the show again. That's a promise, dude. That's a promise.
I'm a secret person.
Yeah. Hey, but guys, look, we're gonna get out of here, man. This has been of the C3 Friday Free for All. Once again, I've been your host, Cody Lashing. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell for every single time the C3 Panther Podcast goes live. We will be back this Sunday after the game, so it's going to be a late one, folks. You know how we do. We're going to be up on on Sunday night because it's a late game playing at 4:25. But I will see you all on Sunday for the post-game show. And until next time, keep pounding.
Where's